Heidi.
And I'm Stefan.
And this is Ice Cream Parlor, the podcast.
Yes.
This is the podcast where we watch scary movies and talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
And today we are joined by this fucker over here.
This motherfucker.
So this is Buddy Chambers, but I know you as the Sultan of Sarcasm.
Yes. Like, how long have we known each other? Like, for how many years?
That was going to be one of my first questions. Because I was, I'm just wondering, because I know...
Stefan, this is the Sultan.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Salud. So, how long have you guys known each other?
We were asking each other the same question.
We don't remember how we met.
I don't remember. I think it's been like, what, five years?
Yeah, it had to have been about 5 years because I interviewed you for a job at my old shitty company.
And I was probably the most awkward interview you could possibly imagine.
Well, if you can imagine this, we spent the entire interview talking about how he was going to an alien, like this movie, convention after the interview.
I was more interested in talking about the movie Aliens than I was the actual job.
So he didn't get the job.
Right. Surprisingly. I was very excited, though, talking about like pulse rifles and Bill Paxton and...
We did.
Xenomorphs.
Right. So I don't know where the Bill Paxton comes from because I haven't watched them. So.
My gosh.
Yeah.
What position were you applying for?
I don't even remember.
I think it was customer service.
Oh. It sounds about right.
Yeah.
I think I would have taken anything at that particular point.
I think it was procurement.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Purchasing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I spent 5 seconds talking about the actual job and my interest in it, and the rest of the time
was movie.
Cool.
And I think we were more interested in talking about that than the actual job itself.
Yeah, Doug. He met Doug.
Doug.
I
think I remember his bewildered kind of expression where he was just like, "Who's this fucking guy? Like, Where did you? Did he say that after the interview?
No, that's just he does this."
Which rock did you find this guy from?
Yeah, I've met him a few times, so I kind of know where you're coming from. I didn't, when we first met, like, she was always talking about her bosses and her job and how much, it wasn't so much that she hated it, but it was like...
Overwhelming.
It was always overwhelming. And it was just something that was like, I don't want to hear about all these.
We have a pretty good rapport and we communicate really well. Mm-hmm. And he sat me down. He's like, I don't want to hear that. Can we talk about something else?
Anything else.
So I had to kind of check myself before I wrecked myself. But Yep.
Cool. So 5 years, and it's mainly just been like, oh man, I think we communicate through nonsense and jokes and memes.
Yeah, sending memes back and forth on Instagram mostly.
Right.
Oh.
And so so you're also like basically directing or making independent movies or something yourself, right? I was just trying to get that. She kind of gave me the gist of it, but I don't really.
I sent him your IMDb.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm sorry for the profile photo.
I said, this is my friend. He's coming on the show.
You're like, forgive his really vain, dumb profile photo on IMDb.
Is it like?
Yeah, it's the.
I'm thinking, or am I?
It's definitely not thinking. But yeah, I write and I direct as well. So how
long have you been writing?
Oh gosh, since I was like 4 years old.
Okay. How long have you been writing screenplays?
I'd say...
Fucker, I've been writing since I was 4 years old too. I learned my alphabet and then I learned calligraphy.
Look, goddammit. Writing stories like since 4. Scripts themselves, I'd say 12. I used to go to... God, this shows my age. I used to go to Suncoast. I'm old as fuck.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Oh my gosh.
Is that a Virginia thing? Because you're from Virginia,
I'm from
right?
Virginia, yes. That's like a video store back in the day.
Sounded like it. I was going to say, it's like a video rental place or something, maybe?
It was the last one was in, I think the one was in Torrance that I remember.
What was it called?
Suncoast.
See, you said that, and I thought it was like sunglasses.
No.
But that's Sunglass Hut.
Suncoast. This was like, you would get like, it would be like the premier place to get videos or...
Excuse me.
Bro, we're interviewing here.
Hey, when nature calls, it fucking hollers.
You do that outside.
So no, like Suncoast used to have like videos or whatever. So like when the newest movie came out, you would go there. But they would also sell scripts. So I used to go there and just buy scripts like in bulk. And like, oh, let me buy all these. I was a total X-Files nerd as a kid. So I used to buy all those scripts in mass and just read and learn basically how to write a script. Right. And then I was like, okay, I can do this. So since 12, 11 years old, thereabouts.
There's an app called Weekend Read. Mm-hmm. And what they do is they give you, for the weekend, certain scripts to read. Like right now I'm reading Big Fish.
Oh, shit.
You might like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, go ahead. I was going to forget otherwise.
No, that's awesome. No, that's awesome. But yeah, back in the day, that was how I did it. Was just like buying scripts and like telling my family, like, look, buy all this shit. Trust me, it's an investment. And just kind of teach myself like how to read and like how scripts are formatted and everything. And then it became like movie scripts. And then so since that age, basically it was on. And I think the first movie that kind of like, I mean, it's so fucking cliche, that kind of lit a fire into my ass was watching Pulp Fiction was like a revelation.
Well, yeah, Pulp Fiction is very impactful. I think we're all about the same age. Like at our age, when we came out and we probably saw it like maybe right away.
Yeah.
It really fucking hit you hard.
I didn't get the chance to see it like in the theaters when it came out. That I wasn't fortunate enough to, my parents were a little bit restrictive on like movies and what they're rated.
His parents
and all
actually
that,
cared.
Ours didn't give a shit about us.
So I did see it eventually, but I didn't get a chance to see it in the theater in the 94?
94.
Yeah, 94, yeah. So, but yeah, big fan of that movie.
I remember I saw it originally with a friend, and then I was just like, what the fuck? You mean you can do this in a movie? You mean you can get away with this? Wait, what? And then like the way the narrative is structured is just amazing. I mean, the soundtrack, everything is just kick-ass in that movie. So then, because I'm obsessive personality, I basically started watching that movie. We had a theater called the Virginian in Virginia, Fredericksburg, Virginia.
That is so fucking original. It's blowing my mind.
I know, right? They were burning the midnight oil on that name. So, but they would show movies for like 75 cents. So I would go, like I tell my grandfather, okay, it'd be like 11 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to go watch Pulp Fiction.
Is this back in 1926? How old are you?
700. No, but I
Did you buy ice cream for a nickel?
I wish. But no, like it was like dirt cheap. So I would just like go to the theater at 11. My grandfather would drop me off and I'd be like, okay, it's 11. I'm going to watch 2 showings of this movie today and I'll see you at 5. Okay, later. And so basically I would just be at the theater and then do the same shit Sunday. And that happened for months.
Shit, my grandfather got me a job. He put me to work.
I know, like, and my grandmother went with me to go see Pulp Fiction, like, at least 3 times. Yeah, they were very liberal in terms of they let me watch the most fucked up shit you can possibly imagine.
Well, the first PG movie I ever saw was actually with my grandparents. They took me to go see.
You guys? You guys are like twins, like I swear. It's been the weirdest evening.
I remember this really clearly because I was aware of like ratings and whatever, and like I knew like, I can't even watch PG. Like what age can I watch PG? So no, PG-13 was PG-13, but PG was like I don't know. That's what I'm saying. My mom was pretty strict, so it was like G-rated and nothing but that for quite some time. But then Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out.
Oh fuck!
And I went to go spend like the weekend or a week or so at my grandparents' house, and they went and took us to the theater.
Yeah. And you guys saw Who Framed? You watched that with
my grandparents. Yeah, and that was like the highlight of my life at that time because I was like, it's my first PG movie. I was like,
that movie's like all boobs.
I love that movie. Like I remember,
and violence.
But that's why it was awesome. Like I remember I saw that in the theater because
hold on, awesome because of boobs and violence. Got it.
Yes. Those are prerequisites for any good movie. Boobs and violence, not necessarily in that order. But I remember I saw that movie too, and I was like, it was kind of fucking with my mind because, I mean, when did you see, Looney Tunes characters with Disney characters interacting? It was like the first great crossover event ever. Yeah. And then I think the part that fucked with me Who Framed Roger Rabbit was, and I still fucks with me to this day, is the goddamn shoe being put into the dip.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it still fucks with me.
Breaks your heart.
Yeah. I was like, that shoe had no fucking chance. And he just puts it in there. It made me hate Christopher Lloyd for years.
I was really freaked out when his hand turns into the buzzsaw or whatever.
Yes.
And his eyes go crazy. That was one of the things that stuck with me. And I was always scared of that scene.
You guys are such babies.
The high-pitched voice.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, that's right.
That movie's amazing.
Yep. But so that was the first movie I got to see
too
that was
similar. I can't do
PG.
this.
And I remember that, like, again, it was like I was like, oh, my grandparents are so cool. They took me to see a PG movie. Like,
So what was the rating on Child's Play?
R.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
I skipped PG. I guess.
Yeah.
I went straight to
You went straight to R. You're like my family. I mean, my grandmother used to watch Oz with me, and
Really?
oh yeah, she was like, and my grandfather was kind of like, dude, I'm kind of out on this. I'm not watching this. But my grandma was like, oh yeah, like men in prison, fucking naked. Oh yeah, I'm all over this.
Holy shit!
She was a badass. So
Did you give her batteries every birthday?
I'm like, season 1's done. Here you go. Here's the batteries. But
Why are you looking at me so surprised?
But I remember she was like watching the show. She was like, "Fuck! I feel like I've seen them more naked than I see myself. Like, there's nothing but dicks in this show all over." And that's why she liked it.
Which show is this?
Oz.
Oh,
The HBO prison show.
Right. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that. I know the name now that it was like one of HBO's first shows. I think
It was their first drama. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like all over it because she was like, "Oh, let's see, penises and shit, penises and violence and dudes working out all the time in the gym." She's like, "I'm in on this show."
Oh my god! My grandparents didn't watch a lot of movies. They're
Yeah.
too old school, which is why they had 16 kids.
Well, they were busy.
Yeah, priorities.
Exactly.
All right, so you fucking write movies, right?
Yes.
You just wrote Blood Money.
Yes.
My apologies for calling it Money Train. However,
I was like, did I write the Chris Tucker movie?
Money Train, isn't that like the
Chris Tucker movie.
with Oh, that's Chris Tucker movie. For some reason, I was thinking it was like the one with George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez.
Maybe you're right. I remember. I think Jennifer Lopez, for sure. Jennifer Lopez is in that movie.
Then it was that one.
Yeah. You're right.
Chris
You're
Tucker.
right.
Chris Tucker was Money something else, but something probably stupid.
Yeah, he was in a couple of other. Yeah, I can't.
He was in
remember.
like a lot of back-to-back movies after Rush Hour, and they were not as good as Rush Hour.
Make money, sell out.
Yes.
I love Chris Tucker. But no, like, I was like, when I heard that, I was like, Money Train. Shit, I wish I had named the script Money Train. Fuck. Can I go back and change it in post?
So tell me about Blood Money.
Blood Money, right?
Blood Money is basically, I'm trying to like,
Don't compare it to anything else. Just tell us what you feel about it.
Oh no, I love it. It's basically starts with a character that a girl that robbed from the wrong person that happens to be related to a cartel member.
Like she's kidnapped?
No. She steals money from
gotcha. Okay.
Steals from a cartel member, and then starts. She has a bounty on her head, and then tries to have to fight her way out because between two rivals that are trying to collect said bounty on her head, and it's kind of like just trying to fight her way out and survive the night. And I kind of was very inspired by like different like 80s movies that I've seen. Very heavily influenced by Thief by Michael Mann.
I haven't seen that.
It's a great fucking movie.
Yeah,
With James Caan.
I don't think I've seen that one either.
That's a kick-ass
I'm
film.
gonna write it down. Thief?
Also to kind of the endings kind of reminiscent of, you guys have seen this movie, The Thing.
I actually haven't seen that either. Funny enough, like,
God, I'm gonna have a fucking heart attack.
We so the list of movies that we have.
Sorry.
Dramatic fucker.
He does write fucking movies.
Yeah, we she says this a lot. Like, this podcast is from the view of a fan, not an expert.
We're fans, not experts.
We
Okay.
like like there's tons of movies on this list of horror movies that we put together that I've not seen at all. She's a little bit more of a fan than I am. I've always been intrigued by horror movies.
Tattooed all over my body.
Yeah.
Because it's my thing. But I'm not an expert. I'm just a fan.
Yeah.
I enjoy them. I don't have to try to remember everything.
The cool thing for me about this podcast is that this is how I'm getting to go back and finally see these movies that I've either missed out on or was too young to understand or whatever at the time. So The Thing is definitely on our list. And it actually, in watching, Alien last night, it popped up as like one of the suggested movies. And also we did Halloween last episode. So
I was so envious when I heard that. I was like, fuck. I was like, I love that goddamn movie. Like, I love how simplistic that movie is, but it's very effective. And I've seen
That's the
all
word.
of them.
It's effective.
Yeah,
it's very effective.
I tried to watch all of them before, and I skipped out on a few.
Oh my god!
Which one did you dip out on?
Well, technically, I was just trying to go in order.
But he's frugal, so if he had to pay for them, he didn't want
I was trying to watch it for free. So, the
what that is.
What was it? The H2O and the Resurrection one were ones that you still had to pay for, so I didn't get a chance to see those ones. But pretty much every other one.
No, you're
what's that? No, yeah. Well, I've seen them before, and that's what I said in the podcast. Is I definitely had watched them, and those ones are a little bit more in my memory.
You guys are even wearing the same shoes.
Oh, get the fuck out of here! Are we really?
So is
shit! Great minds think alike.
So is half of California, though. But I mean,
we all wear Vans.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a little bit of a reach.
Y'all been picking on me all night.
we traded notes.
You're both from Florida at some point.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, well, Winter Park. That's actually where my band used to practice. Was a couple exits down from there on Longwood.
Oh shit! Yeah, I lived near. Well, initially, backstory. I grew up in Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is like this colonial town. The most famous person.
Does that mean racist?
Yes. I didn't say that. But they're colonial.
You're passable though. Yeah. What did you call yourself? A Gringo Rican?
Gringo Rican.
Yeah.
So they thought I was Mexican. So they're like, you're
passable.
They're like, oh, you're Mexican. I'm like, no, Puerto Rican. Mexican?
What part of Mexico is that?
Is that near Mexico? So Jesus. Yeah. So no, it's a very small town. I have a lot of love for it still. But the best, like the most famous person ever come out of Fredericksburg was Danny McBride, and he went to a school that's not in the city.
Gotcha.
So he like basically went to a goddamn private school. But I spent a couple of years in Orlando in Winter Park. Do you know where you grew up there? Was it Full Sail?
Full Sail. Did you go to Full Sail?
My friend did.
Okay.
And then we were near there on Winter Park Villas. Mm-hmm. So it's like down the street.
So what were you there for?
Just right there to fuck around.
Oh, okay.
Because my friend's like, hey, I mean, I just wanted to get out of Fredericksburg at that point. It was like it was like going to college, essentially.
I've met a lot of people that ended up in Florida, if not Orlando, Daytona, or surrounding cities. That was exactly it. They just wanted to change the scenery, and they wanted to get maybe down to the beach or something. And so funny enough, I've seen a few people that definitely have.
So what made you want to invade my city?
Yeah. You didn't ask me the question about your Orlando.
What the fuck is up with Orlando strip clubs?
It's garbage.
Yeah, completely garbage. Yeah.
Garbage. Like the worst. The only one I've ever been to, and it was the last one I ever went to, because basically it's a tourist city. So the girls have to wear pasties. There's no such thing as a lap dance. Right. They table dance, but that's not really.
No, they're doing it wrong.
And
I don't think you guys went to strip clubs.
No, we did.
You guys were at McDonald's or something.
But the strip clubs in Orlando are basically Disney. You can't get bottomless. Yeah. You have to wear pasties.
Yeah.
And I remember I went
to go to a regular bar.
I mean, you could just watch porn at home. Or in your phone. Like, I remember I went to one called Dancers Royale.
Yeah, I know exactly where that is.
It is the size of my kitchen. And it was the most...
Your kitchen?
It's
all relative, so...
It's tiny. And I just remember this... I felt really bad as a person because, like, these girls just started dancing, and one girl looked like she was, like, about to pop a kid out, just practically throwing her umbilical cord around.
Wow.
It was more or less, it was less arousal and more like...
Curiosity?
No, it was sadness, where I was just like, wow, what? I kind of had to become a dad. I'm like, what went wrong in your life? Where you guys had to dance for money, and you're practically about to give birth, and you're around a bunch of awful old men.
Not to be too gross, but sometimes pregnant women can be real... good looking.
I don't know about that.
And attractive.
Yeah, I mean, to each his own, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm not saying I forward the video or anything. I'm not saying I skip it.
I'm just saying, like, I feel less inclined to ask for a lap dance and more inclined to, like, call for an ambulance so she can give birth.
Yeah.
It was kind of depressing.
I've been to a bunch of the ones in Orlando for only because maybe I was some friend, but like I never wanted to go, like just because I know but so I would go to like Tampa. I went to school out there for a little bit and I lived out there. So Dale Mabry and Ybor City, downtown Tampa, they got a lot of good strip clubs. They stay open till like 5 a.m. It's full nude, full contact. I mean, I've had actually a lot of good experiences in these strip clubs in Tampa.
You have to escape Orlando.
Yeah. Is that why we didn't go to Tampa? Like, what the fuck, bro? Why are you holding out on me?
He's like,
we did not go to Tampa.
I actually ran into Macho Man Randy Savage in the strip club in
Get
Tampa.
the fuck out of here.
Yep. I was at, it was called Mons Venus.
Was he in full wrestling?
Wait,
He was
it's called
in
Mons what?
Venus. Venus, like the planet. Why? What is that?
No, it's just so gross of a name.
Mons Venus?
You know what that?
Maybe I don't
you know
understand.
What the Mons is?
No, I don't.
It's a part of the vagina.
Oh, okay.
I'll draw it for you.
You know what you're getting. Was he in full wrestling gear?
He was in full wrestling gear.
Was he really?
He had the tassels and everything. No,
that would have been awesome.
No, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he was. He had an entourage of people with him, a bunch of hot chicks that were with him that all came in and whatever, and he just got a little VIP corner. But if you've ever been inside this Mons Venus strip club, it's just one big room.
Oh, nice.
Like they don't even have technically a private section, so it's just seating all against the wall, and the walls are all glass. So when you go in, it looks like it's 20 times bigger than it is because it's all the reflections. But there's no private rooms. If you get a dance, you just go on the side of the wall, and they do the right there. So there's no, obviously, I guess in one way, there's no, chance for like any extras. There's no like champagne room over there or something like that for you to get a little hand job or something. Yeah. But Mons Venus was known to have some of the best looking girls. So people would,
Did he cut a promo on like one of the girls?
No, he was real. It was like real private. I didn't really go up and like talk to him or do anything like that. He just kind of came in with his
interject.
Yeah. Snap into a vagina. Take it.
Oh my god, it's like Crunchy Cunts.
My new band, Crunchy Cunts.
All right, so Blood Money. Really quick before we get into why we're here.
Yes.
Blood Money. What are you looking to do with that film?
Submit it to different festivals. Get it on Amazon eventually, but right now we're in the process. We just finished editing and scoring, which like we were doing that like way into like the AM, like this week. But yeah, we wanted to submit to different festivals, shop it around. So
sweet, I like the score.
So is this like your own independent company thing, or are you working through?
Right, you have 26 Reels.
26 Reels, yeah, that's my production company. So this will be the third film for 26 Reels.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean,
feature like film, full length, like feature films, or is this
features and shorts? This one's a short.
Okay.
And then this one, like, basically, it's funny. Like the one of the characters in the movie was supposed to be a male, and then we started getting two of the characters are female in the script, but one was supposed to be a male, and then we just started getting the different like auditions. And as I was kind of sifting through it, I was like, girls are really phenomenal. Like, let me just change the gender around. And then, where I feel like sometimes Hollywood can be a bit, how do I say this? Marketing based.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I felt like this was more organic, where it was just more like I saw the talent and
feels good.
Yeah, exactly. It felt good. And I was like, you know what? Does it have to be a guy? And then it kind of added another element to the movie that I didn't initially see. And I think it plays really well.
Well, I dig the fuck out of that. I feel, I'm a chick, right? So,
yeah.
But also, what's her name? Ripley.
Ripley
was supposed to be a dude. It was a character written for a dude, so that very much ties into what we're doing here today.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people generally like to underestimate what women can do. So I greatly appreciate when opportunities like that come up and people say, "Nope, this just feels right."
Yeah. I always try to have strong women in my movies. Mainly just because I grew up in a family full of strong women. My grandmother
That'll do it.
Yeah, my grandma was the toughest fucking woman I've ever met in my life. Human being. She was 5'2", maybe 105 pounds tops. But the absolute most savage warrior I've ever met. Just ferocious. And I came from also, I have a lot of strong aunts in my family, like different like cousins and everything. So my family's very strong in terms of like the female side of the family. So I grew up around that, and I always try to apply that to what I write with strong women, no damsels in distress, which just makes me sick.
Well, ain't that fucking sweet?
Fucking yes.
I dig it. I fucking dig it. So you were from Virginia.
Yes.
You went to Florida. You've invaded my territory.
I have.
But you mentioned being in Miami with lots of shady individuals when you were in the restroom. Please elaborate.
Well, you told me you went to Calle Ocho.
Yes.
When you visited Miami.
For the cocks.
For the cocks.
They're 6-foot roosters.
I know, we've been over this before. I think this is on one of our previous episodes, remember?
Well, she mentioned Calle Ocho, and she just had this innocent look on her face. When I lived in Miami, That's
just what I look like.
She's just like, oh yeah, I went to Calle Ocho. I'm like,
yeah, I spread some blow and did some blow on some hookers.
Well, yeah, because Calle Ocho, at least when I lived there, maybe it got cleaned up since I've left.
She brought her kids and everything.
Come see where these street workers.
We stayed on Calle Ocho, but we swam in South Beach. It was beautiful. I had such a great time.
Were you careful about what you slept in when you slept in those places in Calle Ocho?
The sheets were crunchy.
I don't know. We had an Airbnb. I think it was a little bit better.
Yeah, it was an Airbnb.
We weren't in
and it was
some
like a family
shitty motel or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying.
So we think anyway.
I'm just saying, Calle Ocho was where all the hookers used to be, and that was if you wanted a sheet.
Fucking missed it.
Yeah, you missed the mother lode.
They're fucking sex workers. It's a legitimate way to make money as long as you're doing it because you want to.
Exactly. I'm not knocking the business.
Hookers. Well, it's the oldest fucking profession.
I feel like
and if you're doing it willingly,
yes,
it's all good.
I feel like it's all in intent. Like the thing is, cool words are cool words. Slang is slang for a reason. Like we don't all want to talk like the Oxford Dictionary. So
exactly.
Part of being this whole respect what it is like, yeah, but you're taking away from the cooler word that we could be using. Sex worker, that's fine.
Yeah, you're taking all the fun out of it.
I mean, I'm not gonna call it like vagina, but I mean pussy. It sounds so much better, you know? So
I mean, should I say trollops?
It's
trollops. That trollops has a negative association. Look, as long as you're coming from a nice place.
Yeah, as long as you're coming as well.
I think
that's the whole purpose of the profession.
I think it's the intention and the tone of voice and how you say it. So, if you say hooker and it sounds good.
Well, we're very pro
say bitch,
hooker
like in a nice way.
This show is very pro hooker.
In this household, we're very pro hooker. So
this podcast is pro hooker.
Last week I said, everybody please be hoes. I mean, we're very...
by all means,
by
as
all
you
means.
said.
I said, by all means, be hoes. But it's just about making sure you're doing it for yourself.
Of course.
As long as it's safe and it's... what you want to do, because unfortunately there's a lot of fucking shit that goes on. Like 2 weeks ago in our neighborhood, there was a woman who posted that somebody was kidnapping women and children.
Oh shit.
Because they're trying to get more people for like sex trafficking or something.
Oh Jesus.
And that's fucking real. So that's why I said, as long as it's your fucking choice, do what the fuck you want and just wear a fucking condom and dental dams.
Let a hoe be a hoe.
Dental dams? Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to dental dams.
Yes, please. So, you being from, you having lived in Florida for a while.
Yeah.
And Stefan, you, same.
Yeah.
Because you guys are fucking twins. We went to this restaurant called, was it Shake Shack?
Steak Shack.
Steak and Shake.
Yeah.
Steak and Shake.
Which...
This fucking restaurant, we were in line for the drive-thru for like an hour. And we finally got the food. And this was our first night there. We had traveled all day with kids.
Yeah.
We hadn't gotten to where we were going to stay yet. Where I'm just like, I'm fucking hungry. He's like, you got to try this restaurant.
Well, I wasn't trying to try the restaurant.
An hour in line. And then they fucking fucked up the order. They got everybody else's food except for mine.
How long? Okay. Question: was the line long?
No.
So they were just incompetent.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the worst service at any Steak and Shake. But I also like we were just trying to find the closest thing to us that we could eat.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That
But
wasn't
he's like, let's go to the closest thing. But we passed the Wendy's because it looked like it was cracked out.
It's Steak and Shake.
It was cracked out.
It's Steak and Shake or a Waffle House.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys ever been to a Waffle House?
I have, yeah.
We live by Roscoe's.
No, I've tried to explain to her Waffle House, but
the amazing ghetto-ness that Waffle House can be.
But I live by Roscoe's.
No, but
and I've had Roscoe's.
No, but Waffle
on a
House
fucking Sunday.
No, Waffle House is next level. If you ever YouTube Waffle House and fights, you'll see why.
Waffle House is a southern what delicacy is they say.
Yes it is. Like, and you see one like going when you travel. Like, I remember I was traveling from Virginia to Florida when I moved. You see one like every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like more plentiful than Starbucks even.
Yeah.
Really? There's one everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's from Florida throughout Georgia, all the whole southern area. I don't know.
Well,
how
it's
far
like
it
Cracker
extends,
Barrel,
but,
right?
Well, there's a lot of those too.
There's a lot of crackers there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's its own thing, Florida. You know, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Type in Florida, man, whatever,
Yeah,
or just
we were
dumb
there.
shit.
Some
Florida.
weird shit.
Yeah.
Like Casey Anthony was my neighbor, like near me. Yeah,
I know. She was not too far down the road from.
So you're like gonna kill your kids, huh?
No. If I had any.
That you're aware
and that
of.
I'm aware of, probably scattered across the continental United States that I don't know.
Well, you are half brown.
That's right. So there's got to be at least a couple scattered around. Maybe a couple in LA that I don't know of, but
probably not.
I hope I don't see them until they turn 18. I don't want to pay that child support money.
You're still gonna have to pay back child support.
Fuck.
Damn.
Why'd you have to dampen my spirits?
Look, fuck. I never got child support. My kids are almost out the house. I didn't even get shit.
Fuck, you got a raw deal.
I sure as fuck did. That's what happens when you go raw.
Raw deal, literally.
Well, all right. So we're going to take a quick break and then we will be right back. We will let you know what the fuck we're watching.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be right back.
Did you seriously think that you are going to steal that money and just walk away scot-free?
It did cross my mind.
And we're back.
Yes, we're back.
And god fucking damn, that's a good movie you got going.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. I think everybody should fucking watch it when it comes out.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Check it out.
so we'll put down the link to whatever you have in our show notes and
Awesome.
and all that stuff, and we'll send it out on our newsletter.
Woohoo.
So
Awesome. Thank you.
It's not out yet? Or
not yet.
What, do you have a release date for it? Or
we literally just got it wrapped up like this week in terms of like the score.
So you just wrapped it up.
Just wrapped it up.
Cool.
So yeah, it's just been wrapped up right now this week.
So what's the process? I never made a movie before.
Basically the process is, well, for me at least, write script, then go through the hassle of auditioning, which is very, very fun sometimes because I've had some fun experiences with that. Never do an open audition ever. Never do that, especially in Los Angeles.
So what does that mean? You just say, "Hey,
all the crazies come out."
Yes. I've had an open audition. Okay, fuck this. I got.
So does that mean everybody? Like anybody can just show up? Like I could show up?
You could show up. Yes. Every Yahoo in Los Angeles could show up.
Like no SAG
No
or nothing.
representation or anything.
Like
Just
someone that just rolled out of bed and just wanted to come for an
I wanna
audition.
be an actor.
Okay, how bad did it smell there?
You
know I'm right.
No, you're 100% right. We had so initially, you guys are familiar where the Stella Adler is in what's it like? It's like basically like a theater. So we held the audition there, and initially we intended for it to be 2 hours long. 5 hours later, we realized we made a complete mistake by having an open audition because you would get some of the craziest fucking people. Mind you, I did find the actor I was looking for because he coincidentally happened to go with one of his friends who was also did a really great audition. But he was like, his friend's like, hey, why don't you audition too? And he's like, oh, fuck it, why not? And he was fantastic. So I found him early on, but I had to be nice and finish out everyone that showed up.
That always seems to be like how things happen, right? Like somebody
Yeah.
shows up with somebody else and then they just blow everybody's, minds or whatever. Yeah. So
I was
cool.
like, this guy is going to be, this guy's going to be my fucking killer in the movie because he was auditioning for the part of the killer. But you would also get total fucking crazies. Like this one guy, I'm sure he's not listening to the podcast. This guy, his name was Taurus.
Like tourist or Taurus?
Taurus, like the sign. Taurus.
Oh.
So
On
he
purpose?
was like, huh? On purpose. He told me that was his name. He was like, but it sounded like, I feel bad kind of saying this, but it was kind of like hooked on phonics because he like the actors that were, that already had the parts, they came to read, to kind of get a feel for who's going to be working with them. So basically the plot of this movie is in the confines of a car. We had two chairs in the front to represent the front and the back, the front of the car. The killer's in the back. And the person on Taurus is auditioning for the killer, so he's sitting in the back. And I'm sitting across from everybody at a table with the script in my hand, and I'm trying to be as professional as humanly possible. And this guy just goes, I'm just going to act like this is the script. And his eyes were kind of cross-eyed. So it kind of like added to the whole thing. So it's like he was just like, do you know who I am? Well then,
You have crazy fucking eyes, man.
I shouldn't have to introduce myself.
Aww.
And I try to be as professional as I can be, but even in that moment, I had to put the script over my face and start laughing. And
Oh my God.
one of my actors was laughing because he was trying. But he was like, the guy couldn't see him, but he was just like this. He was like looking at me like, what the fuck? And then like another thing that we had for that day, because that day was the day from hell. We had
That was a 5-hour day.
5-hour day from hell. That should have only been 2. And then but of course I didn't plan this out at all.
Because everybody showed up and then you just had to get through everybody.
Yeah.
So at any point in time, you can't just like cut it off and say, hey,
Get the fuck out.
Over.
Yeah.
Like, is that like legally you're not allowed to or something? Or it's just
No,
you
it's
do
just
it because of that's just what
Courteous.
It's just courteous.
Yeah.
I'm too courteous. So I was just like, okay, let me just plow through this. We had actors that would ad-lib too much. So we had one guy that he read the script and he seemed like he understood it, but then he's just like, he's reading it and I guess he felt like he was too cool for the material. So he's like
putting all his own words in there and everything.
Yeah, basically the whole thing is make it right. He's like, make it right. No, you're going left, right. No. Right, not left, right. And then this is going on for like 5 minutes practically.
Oh, that's
and I'm like, and then he says one of the names of the characters, right? The actress was there. And he's like, oh, what's your name? Courtney? Ooh, sounds like the name of a hot ass bitch I'm trying to fuck. And she's like,
That's bad.
And I'm just kind of like, I don't remember this being in the script, dude. I was like, I don't remember being a misogynist being a part of the script. Like, I don't remember that's part that. Did I write that? So, you had that. And then you had dudes that were just like, we had this guy that looked fantastic. And he read the script outside. And I was like, this guy's going to be fucking great. He's a big motherfucker. And he had this wife beater. And I was like, okay, this guy's going to look imposing. He comes in.
Oh, no.
And he just starts going, when he read the script, he must have interpreted it as a different movie than what I had on paper. Because, I mean, look, I'm pretty profane, but he made my script. I mean, even I was taken aback. He was just like, I'm like, you read the script? Yeah, I'm great. Okay, go. I got this. Yeah, motherfucker, get on your motherfucking knees, motherfucker. Yeah, that's right.
This ain't fucking Tarantino.
I mean, Tarantino would even be like, language. Like, this guy is just like, fuck, yeah, get down on the fucking ground, on your fucking knees. Yeah, motherfucker, lights out, motherfucker. And none of this is in my script. Like, I mean, I think I had maybe 20 F-bombs, not like 20 a second. And this guy just read the script totally differently, and I just was like, kind of just like this.
Maybe
watching.
not this guy.
I was just kind of like, we'll let you know.
I always wonder about that with actors. Like, you know, it's kind of, you know, for them, it's like taking a risk by going outside of the box.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes, you know, that's what, you know, people agree on. They're like, oh, wow, this guy really is good. Just let him do his thing or whatever. But like, you have to know yourself that you're taking a big risk by, you know, not following the exact words on page. You know?
I mean, they're basically, not only are they risking...
putting themselves out there and being very vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very, like you said, it's a very vulnerable thing, and they're risking constant rejection. And in some cases, it works. I had an actress that auditioned and for another part for another movie. And she actually, okay, this is going to sound crazy, but...
We did crazy.
But in hindsight, and in my interpretation of this, it really worked. So she's basically auditioning for, I think the character was a mom, if I'm not mistaken, but the mom kills the husband, spoiler. So she kills her husband. So there's a scene where she has a gun. She's auditioning, and she's really good. I kind of look down to look at the script as she's auditioning for a split second. I look up and she's got a fucking gun in her hand.
No, I was just about to say she had a fucking gun.
She brought a fucking gun in.
Oh my God.
And the person that was working as security, I was like, you didn't bother to check that she had a fucking gun? And he's like, well, I mean, what was it? It was in her purse. I go, dude, she could have, like, I mean, mind you, it wasn't real. But I was just like,
That's crazy.
Fucking crazy.
That was badass. Like she had the gun in her hands, and I was like, my friend and I who were there, we're just like,
but
holy
you know what?
shit.
It completed the look, and you saw it, and you said, "Yeah, this fucking works."
Yeah,
I get it.
It's ballsy.
I get it.
It's ballsy, and I was like, wow. I was like, I would never have thought to bring a fucking gun in, and it was a badass moment. And I was like, I always had incredible respect for that actress afterwards.
Because she had a fucking gun.
Yeah.
She had a fucking gun. What am I gonna say? No.
It's
great.
Yeah, it's a fine line. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, and I guess in a lot of ways, I respect when the actors try at least. You know, like even if they're not getting the role, they're not trying to, I guess. You know, change what they're about, their essence. You know what I mean? Like as an actor, they're trying to keep themselves, you know, and I hear stories from like other people who, not people that I know, but like, you know, people that talk about auditioning for movie roles or whatever. And sometimes that's exactly what they're doing. They're not trying to sell out their image or what they're about. So they kind of bring their flavor to the table. And if they don't like it, then they don't like it, you know, But it's got to be, you know, sometimes I wonder, like I said, I've never auditioned for anything. I'm not an actor. I just, you know.
I did some auditions for like voiceover stuff for like audiobooks.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
And I did some of them. And the ones that I did initially, like I auditioned for them. I got them, no fucking problem. And then they were like just weird ass fucking books, right? But then after that, I started auditioning for some other ones. I think I submitted maybe 3 other ones and I didn't get them. And I was like, fuck this shit. I'm not fucking doing this. I fucking quit.
Yeah,
but now I feel like
and everything too.
Yeah, but I kind of want to get back into it because I really did enjoy even the process, even though it was kind of weird. And I like talking.
I mean,
so I would like to continue doing it, but it is having to prepare for a lot of rejection. Yeah. And I don't handle rejection well. Like,
Get out of here.
I fall into like somewhat of a depression, and you're kind of like, I have 3 hours and I'll mourn this and then I get over it kind of thing. Like you have to have like a healthy approach to it, of course.
Yeah,
But it does take its toll. And that's just fucking audio books that I just got into it because it just fell into my lap, not because it was my dream. So I can only imagine how hard it is for these people to be like, this is what I want. I want to be on fucking Blood Money or Money Train. And
that's going to be, I want to change the title to Money Train. Blood Money Train.
Blood Money Train. And it's like, I want to do this. This is the rule. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. Oh, fuck. I didn't fucking get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's very vulnerable and they're putting themselves out there. And I have like, I have mad respect for anyone that has the balls to go do that constantly. And also too, having a lot of friends that are actors, you hear stories of just douchebag filmmakers that just, try to take advantage of the situations. And sometimes, a lot of times actors are having to read the absolute, and I'm not saying
the most garbage of garbage.
Yes.
Yeah. Because when I was auditioning for the audiobook, some of it was like the most garbage of garbage, but I'm like, look, people took time to read it. I'm going to respect it and I'll read it as it's written.
Yeah.
But there was one time what I did is I made all these edits and I sent it back and I'm like, can I read this instead?
Yeah.
It's just grammatically it was hurting my brain. I couldn't get the words out.
Were they offended or like, oh no, just say it as is?
No, they were very excited. They're like, yeah, make any changes you want.
Cool. Those are people that are good. Like my friend told me this one story where it was some comedy and it was basically like it was basically revolved around anal sex or something, she told me.
That's always funny.
Oh yeah. You can't go wrong with a good anal sex comedy.
Eat the shitters.
Right. And she told me, she was like, okay, she goes, look, buddy, the script's fucking awful. But she goes, I tried to make the best of it and I tried to offer suggestions like, hey, and the guy who was doing it was a writer, director, producer. I think he also wanted to star in it. So he's a jack of all trades.
Master of none.
A master of none. And basically like when she was like, okay, well, we could try this. This might be funnier. And he's just like, has this attitude, just like, just read the fucking script. That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. And I
not even open to a change. Like he makes I dig his fucking Stefan. I dig Stefan's fucking music. Yeah. Like it's my thing.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You're fucking welcome. Let me talk. But he and he puts a lot into everything he does. Like you saw him even just setting up the cameras. He's focused, he's driven, he's gonna fucking do it. And his music is no different. There's so much passion and heart there. But if I say, hey, that's great, have you tried this? He's like, I don't know, let's see if that works.
Yeah.
But it's not because I'm insulting him, but because I'm doing it as not even better, just different. Like I'm doing it as the connoisseur of his art, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm the person who's going to be listening to it. But he's a lot more clean and polished, whereas I grew up punk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything sounds garbled mostly.
Gritty.
Yeah, exactly.
Grimy,
Those are the words I say. Gritty. That's exactly my word.
Yeah.
Gritty. And so sometimes I'm like, oh, that sounds awesome. When are you putting that out? He's like, well, it's not even done yet. I just did this, in 10 minutes. And I'm like, it sounds fucking perfect. And he's like, no, I have to do all these steps. And I'm like, in my ear is like punk ear, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, but he was somebody with so much passion, so much driving, so much passion driving his focus and all that. He is so open to still little old me.
Yeah.
Like, have you tried kicking a cat while doing that?
I actually,
that sound is great.
I find that
the screaming of the cat is fantastic.
I find that I have to try all the options to come back to find the right one. The right option for me, whatever it is. It might have been something that I already tried or already figured out. But the thing is, I always go through all scenarios possible. I'm like, okay, maybe this works, maybe this will work, maybe this. And I think sometimes you get a little agitated too because you're like,
you're not fucking listening.
And it's like, but all I'm trying to do is process of elimination. I want to make sure that all these other scenarios or choices or decisions, whatever it is, aren't going to work before I eliminate them. And a lot of times I end up coming back and finding out that the genius was early on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I still like to go through that process.
You go through the gamut.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think good Like, good artists are the ones who kind of like listen to input and are receptive to it. When we shot Blood Money, my actors were like, okay, well, I like this line, but what if I say it like this? Or what if I add this? And usually, if it's not like affecting the narrative that I'm, adamant about, I'm like, sure, do it. Like, sure. Kick that bag over to her. Kick it, like hit her in the fucking leg and shit like that. And they'll do it because they think it adds to the drama. And usually, and if it doesn't, we watch it. Exactly. Yeah. We watch it and we're like, okay, that didn't work, or try it like this. And I always am very receptive to that. And I love actors that just go through hell. Like on Blood Money, we had this fantastic actress, Nina Sol, who's French.
Is she the brunette?
Yes, she's the
fucking hot.
She looks like Eva Green, right?
Yeah. She's fucking hot.
And she's amazing. She's an amazing actress.
I said hi.
I will. She's fantastic. I saw her reel, and she did a movie with Danny Glover, and I was kind of like, oh shit! And she was a villain in that, and I was like, oh man, she's got like this kind of like raw strength, and again, she looked like Eva Green, and when I saw her reel, I was like, oh my god, she can go, and she's fierce. So when we shot Blood Money, she goes through absolute fucking hell. We shot her in the leg, and we shot the script in reverse. So the ending is what we shot first. So it was all the gore and guts and blood and all that.
She was exhausted by the time the movie started.
Basically, and she was like, the last day was fucking Kate was a walk in the park. She was like, oh shit, all I have to do is talk. Sweet. So she was fantastic. I mean, we shot her in the leg, and then we had to apply a bullet wound to go in and out the fucking leg. And she recommended this amazing Japanese makeup artist, Eiko, who, if she's listening to this, she's a fucking wizard. She was great. And then, Nina went through absolute hell. She got shot in the leg, and then we were like, okay, we got to shoot you in the gut. So, and then we shoot you in the gut, and then you have to like crawl on your hands, on your arms, basically, to crawl around to get out of the shot. So we applied they applied fake blood or whatever to the wound. It wasn't looking real enough. So we're like, okay.
Shoot her for real.
We almost came to that. So I was like, okay, let's just fucking go old school. And I was like, I went to the car and was like, okay, get condoms, put holes in them, put fake blood in them, because that's how they did it back in the day. You would put fake blood in condoms, and it somehow adds to.
That's how I get out of a date.
You put fake blood in condoms. You too. So like we did that, and then we happened to have a hose. So there's this great outtake that I wish could be in the movie, but it can't be. But it's a great outtake where the hose is pumping blood. It almost spurts out on myself and the DP because it's a squirter. It just goes.
I like squirters.
You would have loved this then. It was just like so grotesque. It was just like, and then the blood just starts spilling out of her. And one of the other actresses that plays the rival assassin, she's watching to the side, and I kind of saw from the corner of my eye her reaction where she's just like. Oh. And she was gagging, and I was like, that's perfect. I was like, more of that. I was like, that's what I want. I want something that fucking disgusting. So we're just, for hours, she's in this bloody like waitress outfit, and she's having to be like, to crawl around, and we're like, drop again on the floor. And she's like, God damn, I've just done this like 3, but she never complained. She was a fucking trooper. We're like, okay, can you drop a little harder, please? Can you crawl on your elbows and get out of the shot and try to do it in a relatively fast fashion? And you're
like, fuck you, buddy.
She's like, I'm never gonna work with this fucking asshole again.
In French.
I think I heard that in French. But yeah, it was fucking amazing. And then she was just a gangster. All the actresses in the movie were fucking amazing. I can't say enough positive things about the actresses, the crew, that was like the most pitch perfect crew I've ever worked with in my entire life. Like, and
That's
it was
awesome.
That's always a plus.
Yeah, that's always nice to hear because you don't hear that so often. And just in because because you and I are buddies.
Yeah,
buddy. Because I see their interactions with you and the things that you post, and everything just feels really nice. It feels like genuine. It's not like you're doing a press junket. This is how people dig each other. They care about each other. In fact, he sent me Betty sent me a link to I guess was it Nina's interview?
Yes.
Somewhere. And then she goes, "Oh yeah," and then Buddy, and I'm like, "Who the fuck is Buddy?" Right? I'm like, I'm about to fucking sock somebody. I'm like, who the fuck is Buddy? Why are you giving him credit?
I was like, that'd be me.
Oh.
And then,
sorry, Sultan.
Yeah, she was like, who the fuck is that motherfucker? I'm like, that happens to be me. And she's like, oh, okay.
He's like, here's my IMDb.
let me send you the link.
I'm like, oh.
You're like, oh.
I just cursed somebody for no reason.
No, you did. But it was, I think I like writing and directing for different reasons. Writing is very solitary. But I think I love directing because it's very collaborative and you work with a group of people and it's fucking amazing.
Well, it should be, because if you as a writer can do it all yourself, then fucking do it all yourself. But no, you rely on the technical skills of somebody like Stefan. You rely on the actors. You rely on, people doing the making sure everything's going the right way. I don't know all the pieces. I don't.
There's a lot of pieces.
But there's a lot of people there. And you have to count on them because you can't do it all by yourself.
Yeah. That's why I'm not very receptive to compliments. I'm really weird where it's like someone's like, oh, you did this morning. Someone's like, oh, you did a really great job on this. This is fucking great. And I'm like, yeah, but there were so many talented people on this. I was just along for the ride.
That's because the hard work and dedication that everybody, but it's also because you grew up, probably
stunted.
With some, there's some trauma we can get into at another point. For sure.
Sure.
But yeah, so congratulations. And I'm sure it's going to be fucking great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
So congratulations, and I wish you all the best on it.
Thank you.
Let's take another quick break, and then we'll come back to Alien from 1979.
Yes. Yes.
We'll be right back. And we're back.
All right, back once again.
We're back. And this time we're going to talk about the movie.
Yes.
What movie are we doing this week?
Well, Alien, the original, 1979.
1979. Right? It is a horror sci-fi classic that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
Before yesterday.
Yeah.
For shame.
Finally one on the list that she hasn't seen.
She texted me and she was like, I've not seen Alien before. And I how many shocked emojis did I send you?
All of them? So, Alien 1979. And the tagline was, in space, no one can hear you scream.
Yes.
Which is technically true because there's no oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So,
you know that if you go into space, you wouldn't explode or anything, whatever the,
you just kind of freeze, right?
Well, you run out of oxygen and you just kind of fall asleep and die. You don't explode.
You're telling me Hollywood has been lying to me about how way people die in space?
It's no fun.
You ruined it.
Also, most cocaine on set is not actually cocaine.
What?
Sorry, bros.
Yeah, that sucks.
Then why was I snorting on set?
That's because you probably were going for the very realistic.
Method actor.
Let me know when you're filming again.
Oh yeah.
I don't want cocaine, but I'll totally have a Diet Coke.
I got you.
Okay.
So you're a big fan of this movie, and
Love
that's
this movie.
why we're having you on today, right?
Yeah.
So you're really probably more of the expert on it than I've seen it in the past previously, but it was something that I saw much younger, and actually going through it again this time, I realized that probably most of what I remember is probably from part 2, and not part 1. But yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so I haven't seen any of the Alien movies.
Oh my gosh!
Except for AVP, which is So fucking rad. I fucking love the fuck out of that movie.
We have to agree to disagree on that one.
Sonali then.
Oh, she's great. She
was fucking amazing in that movie. Like, I love that fucking movie.
She's great.
He has that movie, and it means I have that movie.
Yeah, I have it. I don't know how, because I didn't get it because I thought it was such a great movie. Because I realized
he just
that
randomly had it.
Yeah, I randomly have a bunch of movies that somehow I've inherited, and AVP is one of them. And there was that whole crossover was a big thing.
Yeah.
But I do know that some people who are fans of the original are not fans of the whole crossover.
Like
thing.
Sigourney Weaver hates that franchise. Alien vs. Predator. She despises it.
Whatever. Here's the thing. Sigourney Weaver's hot in this movie.
Yes, she is.
Except for when she takes off her pants. Because
that's when I thought she was at her apex.
Yeah, but she had like negative ass.
That's fine.
And not for me.
That could have been like reduced due to the stress of being chased by a xenomorph for like
10 minutes.
For the entire fucking movie.
Dude, she was chased for like 10 minutes. Anyway.
The cat had more of a chase than her.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so anyway, let's get into this.
Yes.
Directed by Ridley Scott, right?
Yes.
And what I found was fucking awesome was he had, Ridley's a dude, right?
Yes, Ridley is a dude.
Yeah.
He had 3 separate influences when making this movie.
Yes.
One was the what was it? Wait, sorry. I have it.
I feel like
the artist, was it an artist?
No, one was 2001:
A Space Odyssey. Yes.
The other one was Star Wars Episode 4.
And
motherfucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
1974. My all-time favorite horror movie.
Yeah.
That is a fucking classic.
Yeah.
So,
But for the horror elements, the way that they did horror,
yes.
like it wasn't. We spoke about this last week. It wasn't in your face grotesque horror. It was implied violence, implied deaths.
very psychological.
Exactly, which is like some of my favorite shit.
Yeah.
So I saw that and I was like, let's fucking do this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Let's fucking do this thing. Also, it reminded me a lot of one of my favorite all-time TV shows. This is Firefly, which is cowboys in space.
Yeah.
Because Alien is like Jaws in space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was...
It's a good way of putting it.
Absolutely.
I dug the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
And it was... well, actually, take it away, boys.
All right. So basically, I'll just kind of like do a little quick backtrack. I know that a lot of what you see in this movie stemmed from a project by Alejandro Jodorowsky, who is a Chilean filmmaker.
Yes, he directed Santa Sangre.
And Holy Mountain. So, so there's a great documentary called Jodorowsky's Dune, which he was about to work on Dune in the 1970s. And it would have been this fucking great, epic movie. But people weren't prepared for like his vision, which was going to be like, hours and hours and hours long. And he was like going to get all these bands to the soundtrack, like fucking Pink Floyd, the Stones. He was going to have Orson Welles in it. He basically bribed Orson Welles because he was like, hey, like I'll fucking pay for your like wine at a restaurant for like months. And he was like, cool. Salvador Dali was going to be in it. All these fucking like great artists. And he got the guy that eventually wrote Alien, Dan O'Bannon.
Mm-hmm.
He saw a movie that he did with John Carpenter called Dark Star and was like, and I really like Jodorowsky because he's very like...
He's weird as fuck.
He's weird as fuck, but he's
I dig it.
Yeah, but he's so fucking like motivational. Like he like in that documentary, he just talks about like how he hates...
We saw that, didn't we?
I don't know. I mean...
I think we saw that documentary.
We saw we watched Santa Sangre, and then we watched the extras and all that or whatever. Yeah, it was like the documentary stuff that came along with that. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
Maybe it's not.
It's different. But check out Jodorowsky's Dune because he's very motivational and talks about like
So his version like Dune was going to be Alien if he did it. Is that what you're saying?
It was no. It was going to be. There's things that became Alien out of it because he hired Dan O'Bannon. And then he also hired all these artists to create this world. And one of those artists happened to be H.R. Giger.
Who did do the art for
Alien.
The Alien, yeah.
And So basically that project kind of fell through because no studio was like, we're not doing this fucking shit. Like a 12-hour movie? Are you fucking insane? I don't know if it was 12 hours, but it was long as fuck.
Right.
And also too, money-wise, it was not possible back then. So the project fell apart and O'Bannon sold, basically wanted to write a movie that was kind of like Dark Star, but less comedic. And that became Alien. And then then there's a whole thing on the Alien documentary where it just seems like he thought he was going to direct it, and they got Ridley Scott instead, and they started doing rewrites, and it's the most, as a writer, it's the most petty fucking part I've ever seen, where the person that rewrote it was kind of pissing and moaning about Dan O'Bannon not writing great characters, and Dan O'Bannon's like, this motherfucker doesn't know sci-fi, and they're just pissing and bitching between each other. And I was like, oh yeah, they're writers, they're petty. But I mean, I think both added a lot, and then they hired Ridley Scott, and then Ridley was like, well, fuck, like, what do I have? Like, how do I make the alien look? Mm-hmm. And Dan O'Bannon's like, well, I know this fucking guy that I worked with when we were working on Dune, who's fucking insane, and he creates these really horrific, phallic-like horror. And he was like, he gave him a book and H.R. Giger's artwork, and really saw it and was like, that's the fucking alien.
That's cool.
So it's weird because Dune inspires a lot of different things, like Alien stuff you see and Blade Runner stuff you see in later movies. So kind of like the genesis of all that shit came from Dunes.
Yeah.
Which has never got made.
The Dune that
Jodorowsky
was going to do never got made.
Yeah, because
David Lynch just got made.
Right.
Yeah. You have Dune.
And so I have that in our movie collection, but she's never seen it yet. So, and we've talked about it a few times. I think her brother brought it up once or whatever. But it's something it's not technically a horror movie, but it's it's one of those that we should watch one of these days.
If it's like Firefly, I'll dig it. I went through this whole...
It's not like Firefly.
I went through this whole phase where I was like, I'm not doing any sci-fi at all.
Yeah, this one might be a little too sci-fi for you, but the thing is, you're either going to love it or hate it.
But I like Firefly.
This is not
up your alley.
Firefly. No.
It's cowboys in space.
Yeah. Anyways, but Dune is for another day. So let's bring it back to Alien here.
So the synopsis I have for it is, in the year 2122, after a space merchant vessel receives an unknown transmission as a distress call, its landing on the source moon finds one of the crew attacked by mysterious life form, and they soon realize that its life cycle has merely begun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So really what it is, it's these truckers in space get a distress signal, and by law, they have to go figure out who needs help. They find some life force. They find something, and it fucking attacks them, and they have to deal with that shit.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's what happens. All right. So I have a few questions really quick. No, I'll save them. All right. So the movie starts like this. It's like still. It is sterile. It is nothing is moving. Because they're in this spaceship that is way too fucking big for the crew of 8?
It's like it's a very Star Wars kind of opening.
No. It's a very Spaceballs kind of opening.
But that's where they got it from.
No. Here's the difference.
You're saying Spaceballs.
Here's the difference. In Spaceballs, it's the ship comes and then it keeps going.
Right.
And then it keeps going. And then that's the joke. It's the ship is so big that the beginning doesn't even start because the ship is too big.
Absolutely. And that's exactly
and it has a bumper sticker that says I love Uranus.
Star Wars started. I mean, I get what you're saying, like the exaggeration of it, but I felt like it was also very Star Wars-y, very much in the beginning. Watching it now, and again, like I haven't seen it for a long time, so my view of it now is like, it's like a brand new page for me. So and I was noticing the doors, the way they open and close, very much, the shapes of the inner, like what do you want to call it? The hallways and all that. Yeah,
you commented that maybe they just made the movie with parts from
like leftover.
It looks kind of janky. Like when you watch it, it's very unsexy.
looks like Spaceballs.
One thing that I was...
I'm not going to drop it.
She's like, I'm
You're
writing
looking
a
at
source.
Stefan for help, but it's not going to help you.
He's like, Spaceballs it is.
Yeah. I the whole time when I was watching the movie, I was trying to figure out what year it was in. And you said what,
21, 22.
Yeah, because I don't remember that in the movie.
Yeah, I don't remember that in the movie at all.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking was like looking, and I know that, this was back in 79, but the computer technology, and that's the one thing they didn't get right.
In the year 21, 22, they still play Oregon Trail.
Right, yeah. Could you imagine what life would really be like if we progressed that far into the future and our computer technology was still
shit?
like that?
We would be fucked. We would be absolutely fucked.
So, yeah, that was one thing I noticed right off the bat.
So you kind of are exploring as a viewer. You're exploring the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're exploring it, you notice that certain things are coming on. And that is Mother. And what Mother is, it's the how of the ship.
Yes, right,
it is the intelligence, the artificial intelligence.
It's like that one little room. Is that the room that they go in that has all the lights all over it?
It's the room where the computer is, as in it's the room that is the computer because it's 1979.
Right.
The entire room is a fucking computer.
The entire room.
And I was cool as shit that they called it Mother. I dug it. I dug it. But so things start turning on, and then the people are asleep in pods because it takes years to get from one point in space to the other. So they're asleep in like these cryogenic, almost like pods, and they're waking up. And the women, apparently, according to the notes I found, they had to wear tape on their nipples so that they wouldn't be too seedy for the movie viewers.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
but we just
might have been like
Weaver's ass and panties.
Well, that might have been like that in the opening, but in the end, they definitely weren't wearing tape. Because you could see right through that white shirt of hers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think
they were holding nothing back at that point. They're like, fuck it.
It was also 79.
At that point, you're too invested in. Yeah, but when did I Spit on Your Grave come out? Like, they had so much more.
That's what I'm saying is like it was almost like the beginning of the conservative movement of the 80s in a sense. Because in the early 70s, everybody was like, who cares, And then,
just, vaginas everywhere.
But yeah, so...
Like, you know how much Bush we saw if we're just watching 79, 1970s, any movie, really. It didn't even have to be horror. It's like Bush galore.
Nothing but Bush everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mounds of Bush.
It's the title of my next movie, Mounds of Bush.
Wait, I get some royalties on
Of
that?
course.
Okay. All right. So the crew starts waking up and they do their thing. They stretch and they fucking go eat, which is I can relate to because the first thing I want to do is fucking go eat. Like I get up in the morning and I go make myself a fucking coffee, a cafe cubano, because apparently I picked that up along with I don't know what else in Calle Ocho. Okay, so everybody starts talking about what they're doing, and we meet the characters. So we meet Dallas, who is like I don't have the character's name.
He's the captain.
He's the captain, but he's like very much like this macho guy. Like he would be the John Wayne of this movie.
He's the first credited actor in the movie.
Oh, he is? I don't know who the fuck he is.
Yeah. Oh, he's been around forever, but like he's the first actor, so it makes you think he's the star?
I know. So I was watching it and I'm like, wait, how come Ripley's Believe It or Not is not like right in your face? Because
well, was she a known actress?
No, this was her first.
Yeah. So I had a hard time just kind of trying to remember who's who again, like because it does, I don't know. We always watch it with subtitles now because
I'm hard of hearing.
Yeah, whatever. But
I am.
That kind of helped a little bit because you could see the name of the person talking. But for a few times, I was starting to forget like who's who. That was just me, not really paying attention, I guess. Yeah. But
Dallas was the captain, and then you had Kane, who was his number 2.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that was the guy with the horse. And then after that, like the next level down was Ripley.
Yes.
Ellen Ripley. Fine as Sigourney Weaver.
Mm-hmm. The great Sigourney Weaver.
Fine as shit. Even in holes, she looked good.
Damn straight.
And then you had Ash,
Yes. Who's this?
Great name if you're Bruce Campbell, not if you're fucking Bilbo Baggins.
If you're the biggest fucking asshole
It's fucking Bilbo. I was like, how come this guy can't make a movie where you like him? Because you don't fucking like Bilbo.
Oh no, he's the worst here. He's an absolute fucking prick.
He's disgusting.
Yeah.
The worst. The worst.
He's fucking noodles is what he is. We'll get there. And then then he's the science guy. He's like he's the one on board for all the science things. So he has his own rank. And then we have, what's the name of the other girl? Lambert. That's right. Lambert, who reminds me of the woman from Stir of Echoes. You know, the one with the big eyes. She's another actress.
Did you ever see Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 1978 one with Leonard Nimoy? She was in that one. She was also in The Birds. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was in The Birds. So there's another Hitchcock connection. We had one of those last week.
Ah.
You fucking listened to the episode last
week.
What
a prick. I'm worse than Ash. What a dick.
Let's see. And then we have the mechanics.
Who are my favorites?
Well, I have an issue with them. We'll get to it. So there's Parker. What was the other guy's name? Brett. That's right. I dig them, but I also don't like how stereotypical they have to be, though it was 1979, I guess.
They were blue collar, man.
Yeah, they can be blue collar and chew with their mouths closed.
What do you expect from them, class?
Manners?
Not in space.
I don't know. How many?
Okay, so he told Lambert that he wanted to eat her pussy, and it was like, what?
Yeah, that's how people talked back then.
Well, what else are you gonna do when you wake up from hypersleep?
We're only getting to that point now where people are censoring themselves because everybody's complaining.
Actually,
so much.
The movie was supposed to initially it was supposed to show like all these relationships that they each it's like a swingers party up there, but they didn't make the cut. But everybody was supposed to be fucking each other. It was gonna be part of the movie.
Are you sure he wasn't referring to Jonesy? No. Jonesy.
Gross. They have a cat. Who the fuck has a cat in space?
Okay.
I guess it's an emotional support cat, maybe.
Yes, because I have watched this movie a million times and I have still failed to understand the purpose that Jonesy is offering besides eating their food.
Emotional support.
And he provides no emotional support when you watch this movie.
No, he totally does. For me.
He dips out and doesn't give a shit in situations.
No,
I'm saying this as an owner of a cat.
At one point. Anyway, we'll get to the cat.
Who's awesome. I was going to wear a Jonesy shirt for this fucking thing.
That's a fucking Milo shirt, just so you know. It's fucking Milo. The orange cats are forever Milo.
He is the fucking survivor of the alien universe. Jonesy never died.
What about Sigourney Weaver?
Alien 3.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Like, I haven't watched it yet, asshole.
Sorry. Well, she goes through ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, you guys take it on from
here. we sucked all the joy out of this. Sorry.
Okay, but she was in holes. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so the movie continues. There's a distress signal. And part of their rules, their regulations for all this fucking shit that they do, they have to go and figure out who the fuck needs help. And there's somewhat of a debate because people are like, I don't want to go. But, the mechanics didn't want to go. And so like, no, we're fucking going. They get their little...
Because weren't they all like heading back home?
They just wanted to head back home and get money.
10 months away from home. That's why they were asleep in those pods.
Right.
They had just gone and done whatever work. So apparently about 1.5 miles of that ship was actually some of the cargo that they were bringing back. Yes. That's why it was so fucking massive. Mm-hmm. But they finally decide to go. They go to the thing. So they get this little... the fuck is it? Little mini ship within the ship.
Yeah.
So if you were Spaceballs, it would be the vacuum cleaner.
Well, in my notes here, like as I rewatch this, there's many moments where the female characters and the males, or Parker, the black male, he says, "This is a cargo ship, not a rescue ship." My notes specifically say, "Listen to the black man." Yeah. Because he was absolutely right in every fucking situation in this movie, as was Ripley.
Absolutely. Yes. Ripley was fucking right, but probably mostly because the character was written to, like, she was supposed to be a male.
Yeah.
But okay, so Nobody wants to fucking go, but they go anyway. It's their duty. And they land on this fucking moon. It's called something. There's a name in it somewhere. They land on this fucking moon, and it's like inhospitable. In fact, when they land, it fucks up their machinery that Parker and Brett have to fix it before they can get back out. So they head out to find out what the noise was, because apparently it's walking distance away.
Yeah.
And they go out in their spacesuits, and they're doing all these big bulky suits, whatever. And where they go out to, it's wind, it's lightning,
crazy,
it's
like hurricane weather out
fucking
there.
crazy.
Worst weather in the world.
In the moon.
In the moon, sorry.
And so they're walking and they're making their way out. So who's left on the ship is Ash, who is kind of monitoring where they're going, and Ripley, who is supervising the ship getting fixed. She's like, I like to think, the Heidi of the ship. I'm just saying. She's making sure shit's getting done.
Shit's getting done.
All right. So it goes back and forth. They're doing this, they're doing that, whatever. The three find this huge, what was it? Was that a ship?
It's a derelict ship.
Yeah, it looks like...
They find this enormous ship and they make their way towards it because that's where the distress signal seems to be coming from.
Yeah.
And when they go in there, it's like fucking enormous. And there's this dead thing in like what looks to be like
I thought it was like a gun or some
a cannon or something.
Yeah.
Either that or like a telescope or something like that.
He was either a scientist or he was shooting something.
Yeah, it's in the later Ridley Scott movies like Prometheus. You find out more about that character. They refer to him as like the space jockey. So for like years, you're just like, who the fuck is that pilot? You know, that they find because he's fucking gigantic and he has, I mean, if you want like a whole, like it looks like he exploded internally from his chest cavity.
Yeah, well, that's the thing here. Like that, the only part I know about Alien is the scene in Spaceballs. So yeah, so
you're like, what the fuck? What just happened to this guy?
Like, I know what happened to that guy. He ordered the special.
Check, please.
Yes, thank you. So they're checking it out, and they're continuing down into the bowels of the ship, and you're like, why the fuck are you doing that? There's nothing there. And at the same time, Ripley figures out that it's not a distress signal. It's a warning signal. Get the fuck away. But it's too late. Like Ash tells her, what are you going to do? Because she wants to go and help them. She goes, by the time you get there, it's too late for them, just fucking let them do it. They go, and Kane is the one that's exploring like this vast field of eggs they come across. They don't know it's eggs. They just see that it looks like
these little pods of
uncircumcised penises coming up off the ground.
Is that what it looked like to you?
I don't know what an uncircumcised penis
Now I'm going to
looks
see
like.
nothing but uncircumcised penises.
I don't know.
But I'm probably not far off.
I don't know. I didn't get that image from it. Not at all. But yeah. So
Kane falls in there, of course, because, it's conducive to
the plot
of the movie. So he's looking into it, and then he sees that there's life in there. There's organic life in there. And as he's looking at it, he sees that the penis opens up, and this fucking face hugger comes and gets him right in the face. Yep. And he's attached to him, and he can't get it off. And then suddenly we see back at the ship that they're coming back carrying him because he's like in a coma. In a face-hugging coma.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it broke through the glass until they got him inside, but, because at first I just thought, okay, it's on his helmet, but then,
It got through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when they get there, Ash is trying to let them in, and Ripley's like, no, that's not protocol, 24-hour quarantine. And he overrides her.
This is why Ash is the worst.
Ash didn't listen to her, and she's like, what the fuck, bro? And so he's, he lets them in. They take him into their infirmary, and you see that they have to cut off the helmet because the face hugger crashed through it.
Right.
And when they're trying to cut it off his face, they see that the blood from this face hugger is actually acid.
Yes.
And that's how he would have gotten through the helmet.
Sure,
it's not the force of it crashing through. It's he's acided the fuck out of that. Mm-hmm. And not only that, the acid burns a hole in the floor like 3 levels
Yeah.
deep because that's his defense mechanism.
Yeah.
It
Right.
bleeds fucking acid. Don't fucking shoot it.
The perfect weapon.
Yeah.
You know, like, and
it's a perfect organism, according to Ash.
he's very enamored with it.
Mm-hmm.
And as you see later, why. That whole sequence while they're...
Ash.
Fuck Ash.
Fucking Bilbo.
That whole sequence while they're waiting to try to get that off of him. There's first of all, again, listen to Parker. He says, "Why don't we just freeze it off?"
Yeah.
Listen to the man. And Ripley. Just saying. And then there's a sequence in the director's cut where Lambert smacks the living shit out of Ripley when they're walking down the hall because she's pissed that she...
And that was real.
That was real, yeah.
Yeah, she really slapped the crap out of her.
Because Ridley Scott's like, just... Because he was a shit stirrer, so he's like, he pulled Veronica Cartwright aside.
do it.
He's like, fucking hit her. And so she slaps Sigourney Weaver, and when you watch the take, Sigourney's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, she's like she was kind of taken aback because when Veronica's like, well, she really told me to fucking do it.
She's lucky she didn't get socked.
Yeah, and Sigourney was no fucking slouch. She could have kicked her ass. So
yeah. So everybody commences to go about their days on the ship, fixing shit, whatever the fuck it is, figuring out where they are. Because at this point, Lambert still doesn't know where they are, right? They know that they're far from home. They're not they're not in their system. They're somewhere else. So they're trying to figure all those things out. Ash is with, when Ash and Dallas were reviewing what's going on with the whole face hugger thing and trying to cut it off, he does a body scan of him. I find it very fucking hard. This is where I started, was like, right? I was like, what the fuck is up with Ash? Because he would have seen that there is something else happening with his body when he scanned his fucking body.
Yeah. Well, he's just acts suspicious the whole movie. In my opinion, I just want to say something because I know that like we all had a good time watching this movie. Yeah. But I watched it with the idea of it being a horror movie for this podcast, for the sake of this podcast. And at this point in time in the movie, I was still like, this is very science fiction. We haven't gotten to any horror yet. And not that I didn't like it, but I was also very kind of like, okay, we're building up to something. I know what we're going to get to because the alien and all that. But I just, at this point in time in the movie, nothing yet has been anywhere near the realm of horror to me, except for maybe the acid but that's not even very horror related. But I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I just wanted to contradict and throw my 2 cents in here real quick because, be honest with you, I like this movie, but I still feel like it's borderline
not horror
enough for the horror movies that I technically like. I was a little bit skeptic about putting it on our list because I was like, it's more of a sci-fi movie than a horror movie. And I know you really like it, so I just wanted to get your 2 cents on that.
I hear you, but you're wrong.
Okay, well, I wanted to hear his opinion.
I will admit, it does kind of play very science fiction-y in the beginning, up until that scene. And then you're like, oh shit! It kind of does a turn. Yeah. As the scene, the infamous scene, happens, and you're like, oh shit! Then it becomes a slasher.
Right. So let's get to the infamous scene. At some point, everybody is back at everybody's.
Will they go back to where they were eating or something, or like common area?
So at some point, everybody's kind of just going back to visit Kane because the face hugger is missing. Oh, right. And he's up and walking around. Not walking around, but he's, talking. So at one point, everybody's happy for him, but then Ripley, Dallas, and Ash start looking for the face hugger and they can't fucking find it. Yeah. And finally, they find it when it falls onto Ripley. Mm-hmm. And they look at it and it looks fucking delicious. And I was like, why do I want to eat this fucking face hugger? Yeah. I was like, why do I want to eat this fucking face hugger? You know why? Because they used oysters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for the underside of it. And I'm like, why is that so fucking delicious?
I just want to grill it. It looks fucking yummy.
So when it fell down and hit Ripley, in my head, I was remembering this old, I don't know what it was. It was kind of like a hand puppet that was like probably, I don't know if you remember this or not, but you would put your hand inside. It kind of had a tail and it had like eyes that would like move back and forth, and you could, I forgot what they were called, but they were like,
were they called puppets?
No, this was like a significant toy of some sort that was sold in the stores around this time, which again, it had like kind of, no, this is not, I was in Massachusetts. So it had these beady eyes that you could move back and forth, and then you would be able to open this mouth that had like teeth in it or whatever, and had a big tail.
That seems familiar. Yeah,
I don't remember what they were called, but anyways, it was a type of toy back then.
No fucking clue. If anybody knows, please let us know what the fuck that is.
I feel like they were like kind of like not Cabbage Patch Kids, but kind of like that, where they had like a few different models. Like it wasn't just the one. I feel like maybe they had a few different ones, and you could collect them all. Yeah, no, they were like little monster creatures that you could like.
No idea.
Well, I think they sold them at like KB toy stores or whatever.
Oh man, that's bringing me back.
Damn it, we're old. Okay. Let's not feel old. Let's go back to 1979. All right, so they find the face hugger.
It's like dead now.
It's
right?
dead. Yeah, it's dead. Or
it's
dead.
Yeah,
it's dead. So they're back at eating. Everybody's celebrating. They're like, before we go to sleep, let's have one last meal on me, kind of thing, is what Dallas says to everybody. So they're celebrating. They're eating all the fucking food. Which wouldn't you eat all the food anyway? Because you have 10 months to go. Like you wake up when you get home. Like, do you really need all this meal? Yeah. So everybody's celebrating. And then I am like looking at Stefan like, can you rewind that? Because why did Ash look like that? Because he did one of these things. He's like
very shifty.
He kind of like looking weird.
Like he did this one little, like if you blink, you miss it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Stefan, rewind that. Rewind it again. You saw that, right?
He's
like you saw it.
And he's observing.
He's observing the fuck out of Kane. Yeah. He's like, something's going on. And that's when the infamous scene happens.
Yeah. Well, he starts kind of like choking or coughing up or something right at this point.
Kane does.
Kane. Yeah. And then, the infamous scene where the alien...
So he's choking and he's gagging and he's like, oh my God, everybody's trying to, they think he's having a seizure. They start putting things in his mouth because they think he's going to bite his tongue off. And then he's flailing. He lays himself out onto the fucking table and suddenly this fucking penis comes out of his chest. And
with teeth.
With teeth, exactly like in Spaceballs. And it's about to sing, hello, my baby, hello, my and it fucking screeches and runs the fuck out of there.
And you see, I love the shot in that where not only is Ash observing, but if you look in the background, you see Jonesy the cat calmly eating his fucking meal and not giving a shit. Like he's just kind of like
I missed that.
Yeah. He's right behind Ash. He's like Ash is there, but right behind him is Jonesy.
Very much a cat.
Very much a cat, not affected by someone dying, anyone else's pain.
Just don't come next to me.
He's just like, I'm gonna lick my fur and just eat this food. Oh, Kane just had a fucking alien pop out of him.
Like, keep it over there. Don't squirt me with that blood.
I'm good.
So Kane is dead. This thing is running around somewhere. This is stage 2 of the life cycle. First it's space hugger, then it's chest burster. And so they have a funeral for Kane. They wrap his body up and they send him out of the airlock.
Yeah, they just like eject him.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's like a drop kick because they go It was not very nice. It was rude almost. But then you have a body decaying with you for the next 10 months, right?
What else could they do?
I mean, not kick him. But so now they have to go and look for the guy. They have to look for this little monster thing. Lo and behold, Ash has a way to do it.
Yeah, they have like this fancy cattle prod or something.
Somehow he has a way to track them. Somehow he has a way to supposedly figure out what's what. It's just a sensor. Somehow he knows how to do that.
Convenient.
How fucking convenient, Bilbo. So everybody's armed with cattle prods, and they're armed with the fucking thing, whatever the fuck it's called, the thing.
The thing.
The thing. And so they break up into 2 teams. It's Dallas.
I don't remember which teams were which. I feel like that Ripley went with
Parker and Brett,
Parker
and so
and
then
Brett,
it's
yeah.
Dallas, Ash, and
Lambert.
Lambert. I can't ever remember her name.
Yeah.
Lambert. Okay, so if you put Lamb Chop and Bert from Bert and anyway. So then they're going and they're searching and they're using it as kind of a way to see if where it is, and so they can because they figure you can always set them on fire or whatever. Oh no, wait, that's not yet. Anyway, they're trying to find it. They Ripley's team accidentally captures Jonesy, and they let it get away. But Parker has a great idea. He's fucking smart as shit. He's like,
how did Jonesy get into that thing? Like, he was, like, in there, and they opened the door, and he scurried out. Could Ash have placed him in there? I don't know. Because, I don't know. It just seems like it's a giant... Or
it's a fucking cat, and that's what they do.
Okay, yeah, they are pretty stupid. My cat goes into cabinets all the time, and just, like, she kind of forgets how she got in there. Okay, point taken.
Okay, so the... So they're looking... so Brett is in charge of looking for Jonesy because Parker has a brilliant thought. We better capture this fucking cat now. Otherwise, this thing's going to continue to get us to the cat instead of this fucking thing, this alien. And so, Brett is the one that let her get away. So he's in charge of doing it. So he's walking around by himself, which is fucking brilliant. And he is, for some reason, in this fucking dungeon.
Yeah, I don't know where the rain came from.
With rain and
that was a little weird.
The bowels of the ship. And so he... Finally, we don't see it happen. We just know that he got.
Yep.
Because he pulls up what looks like the exoskeleton.
Yeah, like the outer skin, the outer
slash
something.
Snake layer kind of that he finds on the floor, and then he's gone. We don't see any violence. We don't see any blood. We don't see anything other than the team all huddled again in the kitchen. And Ripley and Parker saying it just took him into the air ducts. And that's how they know that he's in the air ducts, that the fucking alien is in the air ducts. So Ash says, well, they have to be afraid of fire, right? As every animal is afraid of fire. So they now have a fucking blowtorch. Blowtorch? Fire thing?
It was like a makeshift
flamethrower. Thank you.
Flamethrower, yeah.
Yes. And so their idea is let's keep everything in the air ducts. Let's close them off as we go along, and we'll use this to draw him out into the airlock, and then put that fucker out of here, right?
Just like they did to Kane.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He got it.
Yeah.
No, it's an interesting plan.
Yes.
If the equipment worked properly, if it actually could track him, but it can't track him because the blips, the blips from old school tracking devices. You're here, and suddenly you can see other people coming or going. It disappears. So finally, Dallas also gets got.
Yeah, he gets attacked
in the
vents, right?
Your first credited star is dead.
Yes. So you're like, that's not the hero, because at this point Ripley's not a hero yet.
No.
She's just the one saying, "Don't follow the rules, and you fucking listen to me."
Right.
Yeah. You're starting to realize, wait a second, if everyone listened to her, none of this shit would be happening right now.
Yeah, so she was right. So who's the hero, her or him? Like him as in Parker, because he was also always right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I really did like this scene because everybody is you. Like, you're everybody in this scene. You can't help. Yeah. All you can do is sit there and watch. In their case, they can only sit there and listen. Oh my God, run. Oh my God, run. And all you hear is reactions.
Yeah.
That's all you have no,
yeah,
you're
that's going to be the worst.
Yeah,
because,
you're completely helpless.
Completely helpless. You can't do anything. You just sit there and have to hear the horror, the horrors happening.
And you're like, no, turn around. This is wrong. And then he turns around. It's right there.
Yeah.
And like when Brett got killed earlier, and this is why I'm kind of jealous that you got to see it with fresh eyes. And I've seen it so many times now. I see things when Brett goes in to find Jonesy, it's fucking there, hanging up. And if you watch it the first time, you don't even see it. You don't know what you're looking for.
See it.
Yeah.
It's literally hanging there and he's just chilling. And, seeing it now, I'm like, a million times, I'm like, oh, okay, there he is. Mm. But he's just kind of like a black form. Mm-hmm. And then when he jumps down and Jonesy sees the fucking alien. He's like, fuck this. And Brett's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? The alien just kind of like, you just see teeth.
Yeah.
And just this black creature.
We're at stage 3 of the life cycle, and it is this 7-foot tall fucking elongated bike helmet wearing. Like, it has a mouth that has a mouth that has a mouth. And it's like, it is fucking insane. It is enormous, but it's also jet black and it's juicy as fuck.
Did you want to eat it?
Yeah.
No, I did not want to eat that one, but I did find out that all the water that's like, I guess the salivating or the sliminess of the alien is just KY jelly.
Is that what it was?
Is that really?
Yeah. It was,
really?
Yeah, it's KY jelly. That's why I'm like, why did I write down KY jelly? Yeah, but that's what it was. But so that's how you had, I don't know if y'all have experience with KY jelly, but it's liquid, but it's also very like, you can't hold on to it. It's always moving. So it's viscous.
They must have had to invest in a lot of that because that seems like they needed a whole bunch.
It's like they made it out of KY jelly.
Yeah, it's like they invested in a shitload of it for this movie.
Sponsored by
not
KY
by
jelly.
we're gonna need a bigger size than that tiny bottle right there.
We're gonna need at least a year's worth for this fucking movie.
Oh my gosh, I watched the movie once and they had like, maybe it was old school where they had wrestling inside of KY jelly.
It sounds like something that happens. Is that this? I don't know if it was
Frank the Tank, that movie?
Yeah, but was it? I don't remember if it was KY jelly or just mud. I don't remember.
No, I think it was KY jelly. Anyway.
I need to watch. Note to self: must watch wrestling match in KY jelly.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Have you tried to hold on to? Never mind. So. Where were we? Okay,
well, we're talking about that. It's now reached its final stage.
Yeah, definitely. So now everybody's freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
Ripley, who's left?
Ripley, Lambert.
It's Ripley, Lambert, Ash, and
Parker.
Parker.
Yeah.
Okay. So at this point, Ripley's like, what the fuck is going on? Dallas is gone. Kane is gone. I'm in charge. I now have access to Mother. Let me see what's really going on here. Yep. And she goes to Mother and she finds out that not only does the science officer, Ash, have a mission, that the mission is to take home that alien, even if it costs the lives of the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
That is his only mission.
So he knew about this life form the whole time. So what was their other mission that they were on in the first place, that they were coming back from? Yeah,
they were mining ore.
Oh, right.
Whatever that is. But you know what? I did miss when Dallas and Ripley were talking earlier because she doesn't trust him. She didn't trust Ash. Apparently, they had this science officer who had gone on 5 different missions with them. And last minute, they switched him out with Ash. So that was brand new to the team. They had no idea who he was.
Gotcha. Yeah. And this is like the company that hired them or whatever.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So because this is just like truckers in space.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's just whatever the broker was. It's like, hey, you got this load. Go get it.
Yeah.
So inside of Mother, which is just this computer room, Ripley reads it, leans back. Ash is right the fuck there.
Terrifying shot.
I think I jumped, didn't I?
Yeah.
Is that where I was like,
and he's
Bilbo's like, crazy looking.
And he's so happy in this moment when she read everything that was going on because he's so in love with this organism.
Yeah, he's like, it's the perfect organism.
Right, yeah. That's why when, like you said, when he was x-raying the body earlier, he should have
seen that there was a chest burster in his body.
Yeah, that's what his reaction was. He was like, I just can't wait for it to, it's like a countdown for him.
Yeah, he said like it's feeding him oxygen and you're like, that doesn't look like that.
And you're just kind of like, wait a second, this whole thing is a giant science experiment for him. He's, he's letting this happen. He's watching this happen. He's setting things in motion and just kind of studying the results for his own.
It gets better. How does it get better? Fist fight, Ripley versus Ash. And you know what? She got some good licks in there.
Oh, yeah.
She's a tough fucking chick. And I fucking dug it. That scrawny little girl with no ass is strong as shit. But she keeps getting beat up. And he like pins her down and is rolling this... Oh, wait. they're in the porn section of the computer room because the porn corner, and he rolls up this dirty magazine, who's probably crunchy as shit, and tries to shove it in her mouth.
Yeah.
And first of all, I'm like, how is that even, like, that makes no fucking sense.
I was kind of
because
like,
then you're just essentially just putting a breathing tube into her mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she'll get a paper cut.
Yeah, and it would be very, I don't know, it must be very awkward. I don't know. I've never had anything jammed in my mouth like that.
You
but
want?
No.
I mean, you can make it happen.
It's the first time for everything.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of things I can shove in your mouth.
No, yeah, I'm not.
No.
No, I'm not trying to explore that avenue.
All right. But
I can imagine that it must be pretty awkward, especially if it's forced.
Imagine. Yeah.
By
Absolutely.
Bilbo.
By fucking Bilbo Baggins.
Just shoving porno mags right down your throat.
I mean, isn't that how Mondays work?
Yeah, pretty much.
Excuse me. Okay, so suddenly Parker and Lambert come in and they start beating up on Ash. And guess what? Ash is a fucking android.
Yep.
And I don't mean I don't mean iPhone versus Android. I'm talking about he's a fucking robot.
Yeah.
And he gets beat up till he falls to pieces. And when his head gets
they decapitate him.
his head gets detached from his body. And what did I say? He's fucking spaghetti. Come to find out that his innards were actually pasta noodles.
Well, we have been
more
talking
food.
We've been talking about decapitation scenes in movies. I thought this was a really good one, so because what was it?
The Omen. I remember you guys were talking.
Yeah,
about
The Omen. There was a decapitation scene,
Yeah,
and we were
that's
kind of
one
going
of
and talking about
best decapitation scenes ever was in The Omen. It was just so.
Right, but every time I
Perfect.
see another one in a movie, I feel like, oh, well, that one was just as good or whatever,
If not better.
If not better,
Well, that one was more of it's more like breaking your robot. It's like taking your head off a Barbie.
But it's his reaction and his noise.
He's still smiling.
Yeah.
Where he's he's squirting milky fuzz all over the
What
place.
the fuck? He's like, his veins are full of semen. It's like,
Well, remember he was sweating
he was sweating
some
milk.
sort of milk or
he was drinking milk, right? Like, what the fuck was that? Was it coolant?
I don't know.
Because he's a robot. Like, there's got to be some cooling mechanism. But yeah, it didn't look like milk as much as it looked like semen.
Yeah, or some kind of.
It was gross.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was just a white.
They
kind of
put
puffy
his
looking
functions. It's gotta be
just
fueled by
cum power.
Yeah.
cum power.
So
cum powder.
what they did, and so they have their hands are all covered with cum, and they put his head back together to work so that they can get information, like how do we kill it? Do we have a way? Whatever. And all he can actually tell them is, I know what he can do. All I can do is feel sorry for you, really is all he says. He pretty much says, vaya con Dios.
Best luck and fuck off.
And noodles. And so I got so hungry. I think I'm hungry.
I don't know. You keep calling them noodles because you think that it looked like spaghetti noodles or something.
Yeah, and they were made of spaghetti noodles.
Oh, okay.
Like uncooked.
Gotcha.
I mean, not uncooked, cooked pasta.
Gotcha.
We gotta go back and look. I'll show you. I can spot food.
I don't know. It's just that whenever it's not, for some reason, when you kept calling them noodles, I was thinking about it in the terms of it's a nickname.
From the Gorillas.
What?
Noodles from, was it Gorillas?
Well, I don't know where it's from.
Or noodles from Offspring.
No, there's some movie or some TV show or something where I feel like that there's a character named Noodles, and I don't know why.
Oh, you thought I was...
every time you said it, I wasn't correlating food. I'm like, why are you nicknaming him Noodles? Yeah.
It's fucking Bilbo, clearly, you dumb cunt. Yeah. All right, so they kill Bilbo. And or turn him off.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever it is. I mean, it's a robot, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so they had no idea the whole time. Nobody knew he was a cyborg, probably,
when they
or
tried,
a robot or whatever.
When they were
call
going to add the sexual component to everything, it was mainly because they wanted to show that everything's a little bit more lax when, when you spend all this time in space. Like everybody has needs and they need to be able to, take care of one another, right? But specifically, there was supposed to be a scene in which Ripley asks Lambert if she's ever slept with Bilbo. Yeah. Because apparently everybody sleeps with each other.
Well, I mean, you got nothing but time.
Yeah, and giant ship, nothing to do. I mean,
there was going to be this whole lesbian affair between Lambert and Ripley, and I'm like, can we go back and do it? Like, can you add that in post?
And Lambert, spoiler, in Aliens. You've seen Aliens.
Yeah.
Briefly, when Ripley does the briefing, and they see, the people, her crew from this movie. Lambert is shown in the bio as a man. Lambert was a man and became a woman. And that was James Cameron's basically official take on the character. So moving forward, Lambert was a male that transitioned into a woman.
Wow.
I fucking love this movie. It's progressive
It's
as
very
shit.
forward thinking, yeah.
I fucking dig it.
Yeah.
So go
it's the
see
movie
Aliens.
for this generation. Absolutely.
So did you mention James Cameron? So he directed
in Aliens.
He
the second
directed.
movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't realize that.
So yeah, so in that movie,
I fucking dig
but
this
it's
franchise.
it's one of those things where it's like
CAVP.
you have to really focus on the bios.
Mhm.
But in there it says Lambert was a male that transitioned into a woman.
I fucking dig it. Oh my
Gotcha.
God. Yes, I really love this movie. By the way, yeah. He asked me last night, he's like, did you like the movie? I'm like, I'm not telling you until tomorrow. I fucking dug the fuck out of it. I fucking dug it. Okay. Where are we now? Come. All right, yeah. So they are like, we need to put an end to this fucker.
Yeah.
We're gonna stick to Dallas's plan. Let's fucking do this the right way.
Yeah.
And so they try to do it again. And at the same time, wait.
Well, isn't
Can I
the
do
plan
it?
that they're gonna torch the ship now,
Right.
right?
They're like,
They
this-
initially were gonna try to do it again, but then after that whole Ash thing, they're like, we're gonna take our
Fuck this.
chances on the fucking on the shuttle.
because
on the shuttle.
only not that many people could get in the shuttle.
So from what I saw, maybe it holds 2 because there's 2
Right.
of those captain's chairs in there. So maybe it's designed for 2. And initially, Ripley said it doesn't hold 4.
Gotcha.
Right. So 3, maybe it holds 3 and a cat.
That goddamn cat.
Fucking Milo. But so they're like, fuck it, we're just going to destroy the fucking ship, get all the coolant you can. We're going to need it. Bring it to the shuttle. We're going to take our chances.
Let's bounce.
Yeah.
And so then they split up. And that's like the first thing I'm like,
Yeah, you're like,
Don't do
there's
that.
only 3 of you. Stick together.
Yeah.
like, come on. Y'all hold hands right now. Like, we need to get through this together. And so they do split up. Ripley goes to prepare the shuttle.
Right.
And Lambert and Parker go and grab all the coolant and supplies that they may need.
Right.
Right.
Doesn't Ripley also go looking for the cat? I
Well,
think?
so okay, yeah. So while they're gathering together coolant, which are just these big cylindrical, kind of like helium tanks,
Yeah.
they're just pulling them off of, I guess, whatever other place they were using it. Ripley is getting the ship together, and she hears, because they have those little intercoms that they switch on and off.
Mhm.
She can hear them kind of in the distance, but then she also hears one of them is transmitting a meow.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, why the fuck are you getting the cat? And Stefan is like, well, if it was Josie, because I have a cat. If it was Josie, I'm like, yeah, I see your point.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I hope my cat Bailey's not listening to this podcast because I love you, Bailey. But
Yeah.
if that situation posed itself, I'd be like, peace out. I'm like, you're on your own.
See, that's animal abuse.
Let's see, get mauled to death by a giant creature that bleeds acidic acid. And also, too, I'm pressed for time. I don't have enough time.
Because they have to do all of this in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Right.
From
yeah.
10 minutes from the self-destruct to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
So Ripley goes and she gets the kitten, puts it in a fucking cage, and starts to head back to the shuttle to finish what she was supposed to fucking be doing.
Yeah.
Instead of looking for the fucking cat. A feeler, but also responsibilities.
She deviated from the mission.
Yeah, exactly. And what happens when you deviate from the mission?
Shit
Motherfuckers get blown up.
Yeah.
So she goes and she's going, but she hears screaming because off in the distance, we go back to the other two. And
Lambert,
they're loading up those fucking cylinders and suddenly Lambert stops. And Parker tells her, get the fuck out of there. And she is paralyzed. She can't move. She is shitless because the fucking xenomorph is right in front of her and she can't fucking move. Right?
That's a terrifying...
That's fight or flight. That's freeze. Remember I told you they added freeze? They added freeze.
Yeah, it's a very unsettling death, too. It looks almost like...
Oh my God.
Like a rape, almost. Like,
so
it feels violation.
I don't know if they have that scene in the director's cut, maybe more of it. But from what we saw is we heard screaming. And then we hear over the intercom and Ripley hears it that Parker's telling her to fucking move.
Yeah.
And Lambert is just screaming. So then when Ripley finally, she drops the cat wherever it was and she goes to look for them. And we just see Parker dead on the floor, but all we see is Lambert's legs and blood.
Yeah, he basically, before he kills her, inevitably, he kind of slides, I don't know if it's part of his arm.
Oh, his tail or something was curling around her leg.
It kind of goes up her pant legs, and she seems like it feels very invasive and
rapey.
Rapey, yeah, very rapey. They had a death for her where they wrote where she
was going to get stuck inside of a thing that was too small for her.
Basically where Jonesy went to. She was going to crawl in there and then the alien was going to find her, open it up, and she was going to die of a heart attack. Just a fright. Which I felt like
I totally feel that happening. Can you imagine you're turning a corner and this fucker is right next... Not you, sorry. I pointed at you.
Not that fucker. The other fucker.
I pointed at you.
The fucker in the movie.
Imagine turning a corner and this fucker is right there. He's having a heart attack. But I that's a very real thing.
Yeah, especially if you've never seen anything like that before. You know, I mean, this is the first time you've ever seen a life form that looks like this. And it's
that would have been the most relatable death, even if all of us have died from being missing from aliens. You know, you get scared to death.
And that fucker is terrifying.
Yeah.
And juicy.
Yeah. And juicy.
Yeah, moist is a terrifying word.
And basically Parker tries to fucking fight the thing, but it just overpowers him and just basically turns his face
Parker was kind of the shit. You know,
he's a badass.
At first I didn't like they had him eating throughout the entire movie, except for when he died.
I don't know. You pick up on these little subtleties that I don't know. I didn't notice him overeating.
He wanted to eat pussy. He was hungry.
He ate throughout the entire movie. How can you guys not know that?
I'm just saying that I didn't pick up on those cues. He may have been, but
I just remember he wanted money.
I do remember that.
His money.
He was like, "Are we going to get paid the same amount?"
But yeah, he ate throughout the entire. But I didn't like just stereotypical. But you're right. It's truckers. It's supposed to be blue collar, whatever. Yeah. Okay, fine. I get it. But he kicked ass. Even though he died trying.
Yeah.
And so Ripley sees this. She sees her death, and she's like, "I'm out this bitch." And she goes and she gets Jonesy, and she's heading back to the shuttle. Mm-hmm. And she sees that there's the fucking. So wait. Did she do the self-destruct first and then get Josie?
Josie.
That's my cat's name.
She did the self-destruct. Then she was trying to get she saw what happened. She got Jonesy, and then she tried to stop the mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So all of this. So now we're on a time crunch because there's 10 minutes from the self-destruct to get the fuck out of there. But you have the first 5 minutes to change your mind. Yeah. And so she goes and she's a second late. So she's like, I gotta fucking leave. So she's going back to the ship. Initially when she went back to the ship, she had to run away from the xenomorph. But then the second time she goes back there, she grabs the cat because you think that the alien's gonna eat it, but I guess it doesn't eat through boxes. And so she goes into the shuttle, and when she gets to the shuttle, I was telling Stefan the whole time, I'm like, she needs to fucking make sure that shit's not there. She needs to look around. Fucking look around. Turn on the fucking light.
She totally half-assed it.
She half-assed it. And so she goes in there and she takes off right on time. And she's like zooms across space. And then she's looking from the ship, from the shuttle at the ship. And it explodes 3 times for some reason.
Yeah.
3 times for some reason.
Dramatic effect.
Yeah. 3 times. So, and then she kind of has this moment of release, just, and she goes, I got you, or something like that. She goes, like, I fucking got you. And then she puts the cat into a pod so he could sleep on one. So it's for 2, because there was 2 pods, I think.
Yeah.
And then she goes and she gets, inexplicably, she gets naked. She...
naked, but
bra and panties. A bralette and panties.
No bra. Yeah. Definitely no
Definitely no bra.
No bra.
Definitely no bra.
And so she's like just walking around. She takes off her necklace, and even if you're like the only person there, she like throws her necklace on the floor. Like, that's rude. and so she's doing that, and then
maybe Ash gave her the necklace, and she's like, fuck
she's
it.
like, yeah, who knows?
Your cum bracelet.
Or asshole. Noodle.
With your noodle dick. That explains so much. So she's walking around, and then I was like, and this is, I'm saying my experience because it's my first time seeing it ever. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh my God, Stefan. Oh my God, is that it? Oh my God, Stefan. I was like, oh my God.
You see it right by her, right?
Yeah. I'm like, dude, no, I told you she had to check. Why didn't you make her check? And so being so utterly irrational, right? But I was like, oh my God. But she did, like, she saw it and she did such a good job. She started backing away, and she backs away into a closet where they're hanging, where the suits, the space suits are hung. And she gets her ass inside.
Yeah, she's
one
trying
of
to
them.
like get inside the suit while being quiet, but you know,
the little motherfucker is sleeping. He even yawns. It's fucking cute.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it cute.
He's like, I just killed a bunch of motherfuckers today.
Oh, I have tendon in my mouth. So
tastes like Lambert.
Yeah. I raped her good. So she also somehow has a harpoon. Oh, because it's Jaws in space.
Right, because it's Jaws in space.
She has a harpoon. So anyway.
It materializes.
Yeah. It's like manifest. Like when I was like, we got exactly what we wanted. We got this studio. We got it in the area. We wanted it. And then the other day we were looking for parking. We couldn't find fucking parking. Like we weren't specific enough in our requests to the universe. We didn't include parking.
Well, shit.
But a harpoon just suddenly appears. So her plan is to strap herself in to the chair, and somehow there's spray of gases that go exactly where the alien is. I'm assuming it's a dude because it's an asshole. And so it's...
So we don't know the gender of it.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Yeah,
no.
you don't know.
Because later on in like Alien 3
there's
clearly...
eggs everywhere.
There's queens and there's different kind of breeds.
Yeah.
Well, it probably wasn't the queen because...
Oh, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was like a warrior drone.
Yeah.
Sorry. Alien nerd geek coming out here.
Yeah.
Whatever. So she sprays down this mist and it scares him out of its hiding space. And as soon as she's what was it? It's coming closer to her and closer to her, and she's like turned around because she's like terrified. And finally it gets too close. And she lets out this scream, and it's like a scream that I still feel right now in my chest building up, and it comes out, and she screams, and she pushes the fucking button. The airlock opens up, and it goes out into fucking space. She turns around because the door's closed, but he's stuck onto it because What part is stuck on there? Oh, because she does the harpoon.
Yeah.
Also,
he kind of grabs the sides a little bit of the door.
Yeah. And so he's like stuck on there. So finally, and then he's like trying to clamber into the
like the thruster or something like that.
Or I don't know. I was gonna say propeller.
The engine or part of it, whatever.
Like if it was an airplane, the engine where the birds always go in.
Yeah.
Like it tries to climb in there, but she fucking pushes the button for the thruster.
I don't know, whatever.
Mach
Jet engines.
4. Science. And it fucking burns him off, like, and sends him out flying into space. And she lives.
Yeah. And so I was...
she kicks ass, and that is the movie.
And she is the shit.
Oh my God.
That's when I also realized that I remember a little bit more of Aliens probably than... Because I was like, oh, wait, where's that other scene where, like, the thing comes right up in her face?
Yes.
And that didn't happen. And there was a few other things, too. I feel like I was like, wait, it's over? What's going on? Like...
So, watch the next one?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Aliens... because there's always kind of like everyone always says it's Alien or Aliens. I love both movies.
So why though? Why is it one or the other?
Well, it shouldn't be. You can love both equally for different reasons. Because the first movie is more of a horror film. The second one is
sci-fi.
No, it's a straight like war movie, action war movie.
Cool.
Because it and the characters you really love the characters in the second one. I would probably say even more than the first one. As awesome as Ripley is, and when you see Aliens, you'll realize what I mean. I love Sigourney Weaver. I love Ellen Ripley so much, but she's not even my favorite character in the series. My favorite character in the series is in the second one.
It's a dude, huh?
No, it's a girl. Vasquez, who is the most badass fucking character. For me, even more than Sarah Connor. She's
it's funny you say Sarah Connor because I was like, okay, so this one is like Terminator. And then Aliens is like Terminator 2, in which it's now let's fucking go to war. Yeah. It's not even about the kid anymore. It's about let's fucking win this, right?
Yeah, it's straight war.
Which is the better movie, by the way.
Because in Aliens, you've already seen what she's went through in Alien. And it's basically like she's gone through hell already. She doesn't want to go back. But because something happens, Ripley has to conquer her fear. And there are themes of like her as a mom that she has to go through. When you watch the movie, you know what I mean. But she has to basically slay the dragon, slay the demon, her fears, and conquer it in order to win. And then, but you really love the Marines that are in that movie that are with her on this. Again, I would say the three best are Hudson, Hicks, Vasquez. Vasquez being my personal favorite because she is a bad motherfucker. She never falters. She just strong. And I think that's what James Cameron used to really do well with women in that he wrote very, very strong women. And again, she's my favorite. And when I met the actress Jeanette Goldstein, I fucking nerded out. I was like, I mean, she sells fucking bras in like Hollywood now.
Really?
Yeah, she's fucking sweet as fuck. But I remember when I met her, I was like, you are such a fucking inspiration. I was like, you never had fucking badass Latinas in movies. She's like, dude, I'm Jewish. And so I was like, you could have fooled the fuck out of me.
You could be a brown Jew.
Yeah, she is. She's.
I know some brown Jews.
Yeah, she's a brown Jew. She's fucking awesome. So go watch that movie. That movie is the shit.
Too bad I don't wear bras. Otherwise, we'd go and nerd out.
You could just go there and just hang out.
She'll buy one.
She will randomly talk to people. Stupid. When she saw girls with big breasts in the line, she was like, "Oh my god, what size are you?" And she would just like I have if you wear bras, I know the perfect place you can go to. She's the shit. I fucking love her. So definitely watch Aliens. Alien 3 is kind of an acquired taste.
I think by that time it was, the Hollywood machine took over the franchise and they were just trying to do like sell toys and all that other stuff too.
But Alien 3, they had so many versions. They said so many rewrites of that script. There's at least 5 different versions of that movie laying around. as opposed to what because they were going to do one with William Gibson was going to do one that was going to be like a 2-parter, like The Matrix. Then they changed it to, they were going to, I swear to God, it was going to be monks on a wooden planet. I'm being serious.
Monks?
Monks on a wooden planet. And then it was going to be a prison planet or a prison experiment. And then they kind of merged the different scripts into Alien 3, which is David Fincher's first like big budget movie. And there's a lot of shit that went down on that movie. So David Fincher never talks about that movie to this day because, like you said, Hollywood was kind of meddling. And then
was that Alien Resurrection?
No, that one's awful. That one's
Alien 3.
Joss Whedon wrote the script for Alien Resurrection.
Joss Whedon, yeah, absolutely. Okay, and then after that one was Requiem.
No, that's Alien vs. Predator was after that. Then Requiem. Requiem was awful. I hate that movie so much.
I don't think. Yeah,
I think I'm just gonna watch Aliens,
as you should.
and then I'm gonna still watch AVP because AVP Alien. So Alien.
Yes.
Final verdict. It was great. I fucking dug the crap out of it. I thought there would be a lot more because Ripley, even though I've never seen the movie before, is such an iconic character that it's like a Sarah Connor. It's a empowered woman that you know is going to kick your ass, right?
Yeah.
So I expected more in the movie, but also in watching it and considering the time, it very much, like, she was third in command, you know what I mean? Like, it was still very progressive, more so with more of the explanations you're giving me.
Yeah.
So absolutely, it's a fucking phenomenal movie. It's great. It's absolutely one that stands the test of time, I think, because even though it's graphics and everything from the 1970s, in 2019, it still holds its weight. Yeah, some things are cheesy. Like, you see the robot head when it's not animated. It's like just a dummy. And you see that the xenomorph is a guy in a suit. Yeah. But if you just watch it as in, I'm watching this for the experience instead of, let me see what's wrong with this movie. Yeah. If you just watch it just for the sake of just being in the movie and not just watching it, but experiencing the movie. Yeah. If you do that, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah. One of the things that I noticed, going back to, is it horror enough to be in the horror genres? It does have the final girl, right?
The final girl from the 70s. It's a 70s movie. So Final Girl.
That was one of the themes that kind of still, stood strong.
So I want to say that it is a horror movie, because you have your bad guy coming to kill a whole group of people that are sexually free. Now, they didn't add the sexual component to it, but there's fucking going on. There's the bad people were attacked first, right? The people that didn't listen were attacked first.
Sure.
And there was a villain. And it scared the crap out of you. And it had a lot of moments that you just felt uneasy. Yeah, even though the cut we saw was in the director's cut with the extended Lambert death scene, there was still that creeping of the tail up the leg, which was very unsettling.
Yeah, right.
So definitely horror movie, sci-fi horror.
Right.
It just builds to that moment, because when that moment happens, it basically hits the ground running, and it doesn't let up. And because it becomes essentially a slasher film.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely see how a lot of the elements from one of my favorite horror movies, Texas Chainsaw. Yeah. How that is very much represented here in this movie, because you definitely get moments where you're like, no body, but I know it happens. I can feel it. Like, we didn't see the extended Lambert death scene, but we felt it. Right. And you mentioned that she was going to have a heart attack. Like, just even the idea of it, I feel that. Like, I feel that unease even now. Like, oh my God, I totally can relate. I can totally understand how she would just die.
Because, she's I know a lot of fans of Aliens will sometimes criticize her because they're like, oh, well, Lambert's just freaking out too much. I'm like, well, what the fuck would you do?
Right.
It's
Well, everybody,
very relatable.
I say this almost on every episode because horror is all about trauma.
Yeah.
Right? Lots of trauma. Everybody responds to trauma differently. If somebody were to come here right now and try to kill us or hold us up, you're going to react differently than he is. He's going to react differently than I am.
Absolutely.
You know, one of us will have like
a heart attack.
One of us will definitely freeze. One of us will definitely fight. And one of us is definitely going to just break down crying. It's okay.
I think I would laugh. I think my first reaction would be laughing. Yeah, but you know
what that laughter is? When you're laughing, what that is, it's you releasing your anxiety.
Yeah. No, I would be laughing because I feel like, first of all,
what are you going to take?
Yeah.
I don't have anything for you, bro.
I mean,
I have
it would just be
$6. You want my $6?
No. Sometimes I feel like I'm waiting for confrontation. So like, I'd be like, really?
Well,
really? You want to try this?
I kind of the same way.
I get that. Where were we? Where were we? We were somewhere, and I'm like, yeah, I fucking hope she's there. So I feel like punching somebody, right? When was that?
I unfortunately
it was
have that
recently.
I have the same kind of like where I'm just like, I'm on edge, and I'm just like, I hope this person like wants to start shit.
It was very recently. I was like, I hope somebody, so-and-so is there, because I really feel like just...
Yeah, that just sounds like a regular Tuesday to you.
I'm a pacifist.
And a sociopath.
Slightly. Definitely a narcissist.
But no, it's a great movie. It's a fantastic film.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited for the next one. I'm excited for Aliens.
You gotta watch it.
I gotta watch it. And I think really the thing, because we talked about it last week, and this week it came on as a suggestion.
Yeah, I watched the trailer right as I was like, I was like, okay, let me put just
watch it without me. I'm gonna stab you.
Of course, I watch all the trailers without you.
No, I meant the movie. Like
I might watch it without you too.
And we're talking about the 1982 thing, right?
Yeah,
not the prequel, which has the same name that came out like I think in 2011 or something.
I didn't know. I found out about that, but I didn't know about that before.
It's not that good. Stick with the original.
Well, we try to stick with the originals here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. There are only a select few that will be watched, you know, like as far as remakes go. And that's just because they stand on their own.
Yeah.
And those are few and far between.
Yeah. Not many. Not many now.
Definitely.
Right. Wait, so thanks. So that's all for today.
Did you have any other, did you want to say anything else about the movie before we wrap up or anything?
Ask him that.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Mr. Interrupting.
I'm sorry.
Thank you so much for coming. You're
welcome.
Thank you for being our first guest. You popped our cherry.
I did.
But yeah, thank you so much. Definitely, we talked a lot. We were a loquacious bunch. But anything else you want to add about the movie? Do you have a website up or anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you can find the production company on Facebook at 26 Reels, which is 26 spelled out and Reels, REELS.
We'll add it in our show notes.
Sweet. And then you can find me on Instagram at Sultan of Sarcasm.
He's the Sultan.
And then you can find me on IMDb under Buddy Chambers.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Awesome.
You have anything?
No. Yeah, it was great having you. And
thank you.
We look forward to maybe doing some more too.
Hell fucking yeah.
Yeah, come back anytime.
Yeah, please. For any like John Carpenter, Wes Craven, David Lynch shit, I'm all in on that.
So let's do it, Dune.
Yeah. David,
we went to go see Eraserhead at a midnight showing.
Yeah.
And
that was interesting.
Fucking insane. I don't think I understood all of it. It's like, but it's David Lynch, so you're not expected to know. Like, I've only seen Eraserhead once. I feel like I have to watch it at least 72 more times before I fully understand it.
And even if you see it 72 times, you won't fully understand
it. The 73rd one is the magic one.
his work is very interpretive, and he will never, ever explain his art because, like, there was an interview where he was like, he's very cryptic, and that's kind of what the charm about him, but he's like, yeah, so I think Eraserhead is my most spiritual movie. And the interviewer's like, oh, really? Like, care to explain? And he just goes, no.
You know what? I kind of get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would say a lot of his stuff, I love Mulholland Drive. I love Blue Velvet. A lot of his stuff is very Lost Highway.
Well, I learned about him from where we started talking a lot was Twin Peaks. Like,
I'm obsessed with that show.
he sent me every episode.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did.
He sent me every fucking episode.
Did you watch the 3rd season?
I watched the entire thing.
Oh, it's so fucking great.
Like, it's fucking insane, and I fucking love it. And I want to have a log.
This is the newer version that came out recently.
Did you see? You remember? I remember my mind was blown. The one it was episode 8. I'll be quick. It was episode 8 where it's basically you see the 9 Inch Nails performance, and you're like, wait, what? And,
no, I don't remember. I guess how long ago was this? I think it was year 4.
Yeah, it was. It starts like they're at this bar where they normally perform. They have artists perform, and then it cuts to like black and white, and you see like test bombings and shit from like they're testing in New Mexico, and you see this explosion, and then they do a whole backstory mythology of Twin Peaks and the killer Bob, but they do it in the most visual way. And you're like, I'm watching it with a friend who's kind of following it, and another friend who has no idea what the fuck's going on. And he's just seeing all these visuals, and it's fucking insane. And you're just like, he's just like, what the fuck is going on? Because this is going on for minutes, like at least 10 minutes. And he's just like, I'm just seeing static on the screen. What is this? I'm like, believe it or not, they're explaining a lot, but I was like, you kind of have to know what is going on to have any semblance of what the fuck's going on. And then it ends with a fucking, I don't know what the fuck it is, like a frog / moth creeping into a girl's mouth, and she goes to sleep. And you're just watching this going, at the end of the
That's
episode,
a David Lynch movie.
Yeah, you're just like, what the fuck did I just watch?
When we watched Eraserhead, I don't remember who the animator is, but I don't know if you were familiar with this whole Rusty Spoons thing on the internet. It's very along the lines of what Eraserhead and David Lynch's kind of imagination is. There's like some British animator does these weird, really weird, out there kind of like animated short movies, but there's like a bunch of them on YouTube. There's the Rusty Spoons one was where it started from, and I don't know, there's this thing called Salad Fingers, and so I don't know, I can't really explain it. Trust me, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's like Eraserhead in the sense that it's just so out there and you don't understand the imagery or whatever. He's got another one where there's these beetles and there's like this mucus thing, and it's like it's pretty crazy. I can't remember the animator, but
he's nuts. He does things intentionally. Like, I don't even think he tries to troll the audience. I think he just does it because he feels like it. Because there's a sequence in Twin Peaks, the 3rd season, where a person is sweeping a fucking floor for about 5 minutes, and they're sweeping a floor. There's nothing.
Nothing else going on.
Nothing else going on. It's just sweeping the floor to music, and I'm just sitting there and
loving it.
I am laughing. I'm just loving it. And my friend's like, "This is so." I go, "Awesome." I was like, dude, I was like, imagine as an artist where you just are like, what are you going to do? I'm just going to have a person sweep a floor for 5 minutes, and I'm going to get fucking paid for it and put it on TV.
Only select few can, because David Lynch can do those things.
Yes.
And you understand that even if he's fucking with us and he's doing it because he's just high on everything at the same time.
Which he probably is.
But you see it because you're like.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, but not only that, is everything that you experience and everything that you see, it's just a representation of what's inside you. Yeah. Your outside world is just a representation of your inside world. So even when you're looking at somebody sweeping for 5 minutes, what you're doing is you're really reflecting and going into yourself. And it's artists like David Lynch who challenges you to look at yourself.
Yeah.
That makes it such a brilliant experience.
Yeah. I forgot that I gave you the whole 3rd season. Oh, shit. I did do that, didn't I?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
I haven't got into any of that. I mean, I never had the time to sit down and watch it.
I have it, so we can watch it.
Cool.
Yeah.
It'll fuck with you.
Yeah, definitely. It's really cool. I'm so glad you came. I really am. This was a lot of fun. And really, welcome to come back anytime. So let's just book it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely. All right, so that's all for us today. Thanks so much for visiting. We were long on this one, but it really felt good and we didn't want to stop. What do we got?
I don't know.
Everything will
Not
be in
really
the show
sure.
notes,
Yeah.
but it's
same old thing like we
same
try
old
to
thing.
say every week.
Check out our website, icecreampodcast.com.
Right.
Email us at icecreamparlor.podcast@gmail.com. What?
Nothing. I'm letting you do your thing. I'm letting you do your thing.
Visit us on social media. We're more active on Instagram just because I like pretty pictures. And check out Buddy Chambers, his IMDb, his social media handles, his website. Everything is going to be in our show notes as well.
Yeah. Let us know when that release date comes out for that movie.
Well,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all for now.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for stopping by.
thank you
Thanks
for having
again.
me.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.